Hey, it's the Low Life Podcast.
Do you know anything about hackers? Can you jam to the console cowboys and service stations? Ever read Neuromancer? Ever experienced the new wave? Next wave? Dream wave? Or cyberpunk? I didn't think so. It may be. It's a world where you can do the same thing. I'm going to look like a world where curiosity and imagination.
I'd buy that for $1. Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Shut up and get in the car!
Go away, Baton!
Yeah, just shut the fuck up.
No.
Doing
Absolutely
this.
not.
We're finally fucking doing this. We're finally getting this one out of the way. Because there is nothing in the world going on right now that is worth our attention.
Nope. Nothing
Yeah.
at all. Everything is honky fucking dory.
I didn't
Do you want
say
to? Do you want to pretend like we're recording this before the election, but then actually not be, and like let it come through in our?
I am not
Attitude.
drunk enough to fake it. Let's just, we're fine. Everything's fine.
Yep. Mhm. Yeah, we're all good. Yep.
Oh shit! You already started recording this. Okay.
Oh, yeah, so
Eh,
what's the cold open? It's freezing cold. It's ice cold.
Yep.
Anywho, you found us. It's the Low Life Podcast. I am Coin Ops McGillicuddy here with Scum.
Yeah.
Yep. Shadowlink.
Hi, my name is Shadowlink, and I'm a degenerate.
And less than Zero, who I've been calling Zero for all this time, but now I'm getting corrected because I listen to the Daily Zeitgeist and they keep saying his name correctly on
Zero
our own
just-
podcast.
Rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. Yeah, I'm still here. Still low. Still alive. So
Let's
let's go.
Let's get the business out of the way. I'll be real quick on this.
Yes.
You know, we have a Patreon. We talk about it a little bit all the time.
Yeah.
And it's thank everyone for participating in it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for.
You help us to keep, we keep everything. There's no paywall. You can access everything.
We owe you guys. We know that we owe you a telephone episode. We'll get there. We're almost there. We're almost there,
guys. We're almost there.
Yes.
But goddamn.
But there's a thing that has come up where there is a Patreon app that you can get through Apple. And these motherfuckers take a cut. So
Yes,
we're
they
only asking for $1, and we'd like to get close to that because we know Patreon takes a cut. But
They do.
By the time you get Patreon and Apple taking a cut of it, it's bullshit.
Patreon's not even the problem. Apple takes such a
No.
big cut, you might as well just not give anybody money at all.
Like,
So what we would ask you to do is instead of using the app, just open up your browser and just go to patreon.com/neondystopia and drop us $1 there. It's just not worth it for anyone involved. Even Patreon, honestly, is getting screwed over by this.
And
Just
I'm
go
not
to-
here to necessarily defend them, but they're kind of
No, but they're the
providing a
reason.
service.
Yeah, they're
And
the
subscribe
reason.
through there as well.
Yes, subscribe.
to Patreon through your browser on your phone as opposed to the Patreon app, which
Yeah.
sucks.
Just behave like the app just doesn't exist.
Yeah, but we've been hearing a lot of rumbling about that, and it's I'm not.
Pretty vile. Yeah.
It's another one of those modern
what about
conveniences they've designed to leech some more money off of you. So
what about the Android? Is somebody taking a cut off of the Android?
It is only Apple.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't
so
like
far,
this.
Which will-
we'll see.
As a user of Apple products, I am not enthusiastic about the direction they've taken. Basically, when they announced that stupid fucking augmented reality Google goggle set bullshit, I was like, oh, we're over then, huh? This is it. It was really good for a while. I mean, you guys used to make computers that would last 15 fucking years.
You know what, Coin Ops? I remember when you first brought it up, and you said it was going to be a game changer.
I didn't.
No, I thought you did.
I've been laughing at that thing since I saw it, dude.
Really? No, I mean not the actual thing, but you were talking about like when it was in, the developmental stages.
Well, yeah, I mean, all
That was
AR
years ago.
Yeah, all AR could be, but I mean, I was also talking about specific circumstances, like say a surgeon or like someone who needs a fucking heads-up display, not someone who's, what was that short someone shared with us like some years ago?
The one where it's like a girl like going food shopping or like going around, and it's a bunch of like
just gets like absolutely like bug fuck, and the whole time she's trying to like do Connect 4 stuff in order to get bonus points for shit, and it's just like, yeah, no, man, I don't even have Angry Birds on my phone anymore, man. I'm over it. Like
basically,
I'm getting old. I'm like 50, and like they're making these phones bigger and harder to hold. And I'm like, man, I miss my fucking flip phone. That life was so nice. Like,
what I miss is technology that developed, after an actual use case.
Yeah.
Instead of just to be the next shiny thing.
Yeah. And we're just.
Am I going to want to shop in AR? No.
No.
Why would you want to?
Why would you make a life-size mock-up of a store that I could just like go to, see if they have this shit, and leave?
I mean, we've seen hyper reality.
Yeah, we know I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Well, long story short,
of hyper reality.
Speaking of hyper reality in the bygone age of 2000,
goddamn,
we're going to talk about a movie I, on paper, should enjoy but kind of don't. We're going to be talking about 2000, The Cell.
Yeah, man. That was filmed at a time when you could just go to Canada. You just
it's kind of wild watching this.
Get poutine, come home.
Yeah.
The Cell's an interesting movie. I saw it a few times when I was a kid. It scared the shit out of me, and then I just never was motivated to watch it again.
Yeah.
And watching it recently twice as a 35-year-old man, I can tell you, there isn't enough of the bits to keep me interested in this movie. We're going to talk about them.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters and being like visually impressed with it, but also kind of like it was one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna keep an eye on this director, and I was right too, because eventually, Tarsem Singh made a fucking amazing film.
I would say that some of the criticism that you could make about this movie, you could also make about The Fall, but it is still a very visually appealing, and it is the superior.
I will disagree with that, because The Fall actually has a narrative.
Yes.
Yes,
it does have a narrative.
It's just beautifully, and it's just such great magical realism. All the performances are fantastic. Like the kid is annoying.
Yeah, that's true.
Same as you though, Conan. First time I think I saw this was a movie in the theaters when it was released. I remember thinking, like, we were all kind of talking when we met up on this, that I wanted to see a lot more of the dream world and a lot less of the real world. But I thought maybe it was just my entire attitude of life at that time.
Wasn't just you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying about The Fall too. Is like they didn't have enough of that shit. But like
the story.
But there's a difference, I think, between having a 2-hour movie full of Godzilla and having a 2-hour movie with like 10 or 7 minutes of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because like that's a menace. There's that loomingness, you know what I mean? There's something going on. You're left hungry. You want more. That's a good thing. But The Cell has the problem of going from basically like an FBI procedural to some of the most stunning visuals in cinema.
Yes. And it's not like the FBI bits weren't good. I thought they were actually... Well, let's begin at the beginning, shall we?
Yeah.
Why not?
At some incredible visuals.
Yeah.
All it says is on my notes, The Cell, oh boy, it is now become Dune. We open to... Okay, so this scene...
Little Dune, little black stallion. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. No, Jennifer Lopez in an incredible dress is riding through a desert. In the middle of fucking nowhere. Incredible soundtrack, by the way. That's the other thing. This movie actually does have a really cool soundtrack. It's horrible.
Nothing looks like this.
No.
Nothing else looks like this.
Right? Well, that's because what was funny for this scene, because she's like,
it looks like a painting.
Because she's just
there's this one shot. I don't know how they got it. Because this isn't like today. where you can do whatever the fuck you want, and they'll just like CGI out.
Yeah. No, they had to go to a desert in Africa. Also, another
walking on the peak of a dune.
Yep.
And there is a single line of footprints, and it's
incredible. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful shot.
It's amazing. Yeah. And also that's the other thing. His producers fucking like Singh is an artiste, and his producers like fucking hated him because they're like, we have deserts in America, and Singh is like, yeah, but I know where this is. Like this specific location in Africa. I filmed shit here before.
I need this desert.
Yeah. And nowhere looks like here. Nowhere looks like here.
Yeah. Sand dunes are, fuck. Like, you cannot find a sand dune like the Sahara is.
Like the size of a building. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing. I remember when we saw this in the theater. I remember this opening bit where she's doing this and she meets up with this like little kid.
And the horns are just blaring and shit. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. I remember. Okay, so then they finish the sequence up and they show you what's going on, and you know this from the trailer, so it wasn't like a big reveal or anything. I remember the trailer spoiling a lot of the movie. This was one of those ones where like all the cool shit they pack into the trailer, so you think that there's this higher percentage of the cool shit, and then you get to the movie and it's just like Vince Vaughn in a suit.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because when this film came out, it was largely panned by people who would actually see it, which were horror fans, because they kind of tried to. Again, this is a movie that kind of defies genre, which is cool. In that it's not really a horror film, but it kind of is, but not really. And a lot of horror, like this, largely got panned by horror fans because this is a movie about a serial killer.
Yeah, it's also a mashup with like a procedural serial killer, which was also really hot at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, and not
this definitely
wave off of fucking like even
Silence.
This is a derivative.
Silence of the Lambs, Seven, which were two significantly better films. I like those two movies a lot. Anyway, so we're in the desert. She meets a child in this wasteland, and she tries to get him to sail a boat, basically saying, "Hey, we're meant to go sailing," and he's afraid to do so. Until he's like, Moki Look has told me not to.
Yeah, I think that's what took me out of it.
Yeah.
Just hearing that boy say that word, I was like,
it's an interesting choice. I understand the reasoning, though, because it's from Mother Goose. And that's something this kid would like. Again, like when you're entering someone's mind, this is, I guess, one of the things I do like about the film, which has been explored better in other media, is when you're entering someone's head. It's all metaphors at that point. It's all just symbolism and metaphors. It's the same thing when you're like, we'll talk about schizophrenia later. But the point is like, so I'm like, all right, Moki Look. So it's a funny word. It's like that one Exorcist movie where they just kept saying Pazuzu over and over again. Thankfully, Moki Look only makes this appearance. So she's like, no, Moki Look told me not to. And Moki Look is the boogeyman.
He likes him here.
Yes.
Like where I am.
Where I am, yeah. And then he runs off.
Test shit.
Yeah. And then she reaches for like this little piece of silver embedded in her hand, hits it, and she wakes up to probably one of the better setups
Well, you had a quick
fictional technology.
You had a quick jump scare where Mookie Look comes out of the wall.
It hasn't happened yet. Oh, not yet. Nope, that actually wasn't in the child's mind. That was in her dream. But she so she awakes into one of the cooler fictitious technology setups I've seen in a long while.
Yeah, it looks like a freezer.
It was really refreshing to see the way this was designed. It was complete departure from anything else I'd seen before in cinema, and the reasons for it actually are kind of cool.
They make sense, right?
The only thing that was derivative was it's kind of Dracula's armor.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
but this is Ford Coppola.
I love it.
It's great.
But I liked it.
It just looks like these like VR suits look like.
Like a haptic
body with like
some kind of haptic.
So it's just like
it's just red muscle.
It does anyway. Okay, so let's see how old you are. Slim Goodbody. That's what this reminds me of. Oh man. Okay. Well, I just sent a whole bunch of you fuckers down a really weird rabbit hole that you're not going to even. He was on like Captain Kangaroo and shit.
Yeah, that's even before me, bruv.
This also ages you, yes.
Oh man, yeah, no, he was. I'm going to put a picture in our group chat on Discord while we continue talking.
Okay. So it's basically the suit is like a muscle suit, and you're suspended by hooks to it. Basically, you're just floating in air
I promise you're not ready for this.
with a veil over your face. I like the veil.
Yeah,
the veil is very
shroud.
provocative.
Yeah.
It is a very interesting way to imply, like, this is the way the technology is being
Yeah. I like it. Like none
interfaced with them.
of it looks
That's the way you
techy.
interface with it.
Right.
That's the thing I like about it.
It's
I like.
organic.
Yeah.
Well, it looks
none
just
of it.
techy enough because there's just enough amount of wires, and there's like a circuitry design on the veil. Like it's just enough to be like believable.
Yeah.
Yep, I just derailed.
Come on now.
Oh, I hate it because if I grow my hair out more and I get a
God.
perm, I can have that guy's hair. Oh God,
This was on children's television.
that's nightmare fuel. I hate it.
Yeah. I had the
looks
record.
like,
My brother might have the record that they had for it.
At least they
Anyhow.
kept his face on, guys.
Pretty.
I got to put that in the
rough.
art for this.
Wow.
So basically, what's going to
Fucking-
happen is I'm going to have like 3 pictures of the cell on the Instagram.
They just sneak that in. Yeah.
That's the 4th one.
Uh,
It looks like Pauly Shore and Screech had a baby.
Then he solved the fucking like lament configuration.
Moving right along.
oh, this is going to be a short episode, guys.
That's all the padding I have, gents.
Well,
Another
really,
Go ahead.
The set too is like incredible because it uses. I don't know. It's just that tone of blue. Something
Yeah.
about the lighting is really visually just stunning.
We'll talk.
It's It's like an aesthetic brutalism.
yeah, kind
yeah.
of. It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's very
It's
like.
dark. It's very
Yeah.
dark.
Everything's like, I mean, it's kind of chromy in this like little lab room.
Well, in the lab room, yeah, but when you're in like the chamber, it's very all like minimal and brutal. Yeah, like you
What-
said, brutalist. It's all
What I
very
didn't
minimal.
understand,
Yeah,
and they
it's like
really kind of like
stainless steel tables that kind of rise out from the floor.
one thing
And
I
you
didn't
know where to
understand,
look.
and they kind of make like a real point on it here is like all the security in the lab. Is there a reason that the dreams could get out or something? There's
No,
like
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's
a
never.
locked
gonna
door, an
talk
airlock, like a phrase to
We're
get
gonna
in, to get
We're going
out.
to talk about that later because it makes no sense. The ending makes no sense, what she does.
There's
Yeah.
more security in this lab than there was at any point in Altered States.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like, and
Maybe
for
that's
no
why.
reason-
It's not like the Russian sleep experiment. I don't know what the fuck they were expecting.
Oh my god! What if this is like one of those unofficial sequels to like Altered States?
All right, well, that's in my head now. That made
Yeah.
this made this movie about 50% cooler. Thank you. So she fully awakes and she recites a poem to like wake out of it.
Mm.
And controls. We get a glimpse of the control center, which, like you were saying, Joe, like it's all like chromes and screens, and like that's the real techie part is the command center.
Yeah.
It's very clean. It's
Yeah,
very purpose built. You know.
yeah. It's an interesting contrast to like the chamber, which is like just looks all like metaphors at that point. The technology makes no sense, but it makes sense in the context of what it does, which
It
is
looks
weird.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
it
all
looks
it does.
it looks amazing. I really wish to see more of that.
Some rule of cool going on and carrying a lot of weight here.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
by all means, I like that. So the child's parents, we get because we learn that she is a child psychologist.
Yeah.
Her name is I forgot to write her name down.
Doesn't matter.
Down
J-Lo.
later.
It's
It's J-Lo. Her character is called J-Lo.
And this is like some whole facility that's purpose built by the billionaire dad to study dream therapy to talk to his son who's in a coma. To get his son out
Okay.
of the
Yeah,
coma.
this is a really confusing
Like,
B plot that I did not care about. I was not
Yeah.
This is a weird one, okay? Because we're going to talk more about like this movie uses various mental illnesses real hot and loose.
yeah.
Its meaning is so I went on a whole diatribe of whether we haven't gotten there yet, but I go on a whole diatribe about like, is it a coma or is he just like comatose, like he's just like
He's achieved the bliss that they allude to.
Yeah, this
later.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Basically, he's just out of it. He
Just-
is unresponsive. His eyes are open, but no one's home. And the reason they use this chamber is so she can talk to him. Because he's unresponsive in the waking world. And the child's parents want to pull him out of the project because there's no proof it's outwardly working. Which
they've been there for what, like a year?
Months, or a few months. Yeah, it's been a while. And
like, I built this whole thing and I didn't get results immediately.
Did he say that?
No, but it's like that vibe.
No, I didn't even get the vibe he built it.
No, they basically say that. Yeah, and that conversation.
They funded it. Yeah.
He's a billionaire. They funded this entire institute.
Yeah. And he wants to pull the kid out because he's not seeing any results.
Yeah.
We cut to a turtle.
Why not?
Why the fuck not?
In a field. And the camera pans, and then we see a car just riding up in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Let me tell you about my mother.
And then we see a fucking dog, and the movie's over. Go home. The dog's incredible. It's beautiful. It's an albino. It's the cuddliest dog on earth.
More thoughts on that later.
Yeah, then we meet D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio, easily the best actor in the entire film.
He's amazing. He's incredible.
Underutilized.
Yeah.
Underutilized. Yes.
Barely any lines. I don't think he's actually in it for that long, like screen time.
Yeah.
But he's good. I do like him in this.
The best reason to watch the
scenery.
movie.
He didn't have a whole lot to work with, I don't think.
He fucking did it when they said he showed up for casting because he's a fucking method actor. There are times he's just this guy.
Yeah.
Like he put the work in to do this part, and that is very apparent on the screen.
There's a lot. Like he does a lot in his time. He's very much a presence. He's a menace. It's the star role. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, this guy's basically just fucking Ted Bundy. No, not Ted Bundy.
No, he's a lot of things.
He's like something else. Like
he
they're
is
really trying to reach for something else.
The visual vibe of him. He looks like,
he's not charming. He's too awkward to be Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
So anyway, he goes down.
Mice and Men. He looks a little of Mice and Men. He looks that's too hard.
What's that guy from No Country for Old Men? Javier Bardem's haircut.
Right.
Yeah.
Still not. Yeah. Still quite not.
Word from a Mice and Men with fucking Anton Sugar. Like,
yeah. Like he can't kill. He's what is known to the FBI as a product killer. He can't really kill. You could tell. Like we'll know during this scene. So we cut to because we aren't shown where this is, but he's in a basement and he goes down and there is a huge fuck off tank with a dead woman in it.
Yep.
And it's disturbing.
She's not quite dead.
No, she's not quite dead because she starts twitching in this full tank of water that she is drowned in, and it freaks him the fuck out.
He's terrified. So, immediately you can see.
Yes,
he's got a story behind.
He is a product killer. He can't kill. He can't kill himself. The act of killing doesn't juice him up. He wants the body.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Did he tell the contractors, or did he build that? Or there are
Go for it.
The glass alone,
it's amazing.
Has to be pressure rated. It has to he? I could almost believe that he designed it, but I can't believe that he himself built it.
Yeah, it's difficult to see how he got to this when you learn his whole story.
Timing.
It's convoluted.
There's a lot of shit going on here, and I'm like, who's building villain layers? What contractor in America am I calling to put something really fucking cool in my basement?
Well, this is like Saw before Saw. Like that's the kind of level of technology and engineering's going on here. Is because you're right. There is no realistic way this dude did this in secret. You know,
and he's got cameras set up in here in this.
We even learned later it's not even his land. He was hired to close it all up.
Yeah.
Like he's going there illegally.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's just really good at hydrological.
I guess
installing plumbing in a basement
with a toilet and lighting and cameras, like you're saying, and pressure, and
then you have to have the toilet not drain as the room fills up and hits a certain height, because otherwise it'll just keep pushing.
Well, you know what we're doing? We're thinking about it. What we need to not do is think about it.
Don't do that. If you want to enjoy,
you got to take your mind out of it. This is not a movie.
It's not important.
For a movie about entering someone's mind, you need to not think about
the contract.
Yes.
Have an edible.
Guys, life is but a dream.
Around till you get dizzy.
Exactly. Yeah, that'll help.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
So he freaks out. It's a provocative shot.
Take this as seriously as like
Yeah.
a dream you would have, literally.
Yeah, I mean it's good visual. It's interesting visuals. Like it's eerie.
I mean, it's got those art house vibes,
Very. So back to Lopez. We learn she is a child psychologist. The project only has 6 months left. And she's proposing to her colleagues that she would like to try to reverse the feed. As in how you would do this, fuck knows. But the point is how to bring someone else's mind into her mind.
And here's the thing: they make it sound like it's like a big deal, and really, all the problem with it is like kind of an ethical and safety one. It's not like it's the way they talk about it in the movie. They make it sound like it's such a big deal, and I'm like, it kind of is, but like it really is as big a deal as like flipping a fucking switch.
No, we'll get to it because she has to like do some stuff, and I'm like, do you just like give her different drugs? I have no idea. Again, who cares?
Sort of implies that like they're worried that a piece of the other person's psyche might remain in
or shock
your mind.
Or like the other
She's
person
allowed
will
to
have
go stomp around in the little kid's head as much as before.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, stop thinking about it.
Stop thinking about it. We're thinking about it. You need to not think about it.
Is this scene when she's in the apartment by herself? Like,
no, we haven't gotten to her in her underwear yet.
We're like 7 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, no, it has to give you something to keep you watching.
I feel like there's always a scene in her movies where she's like half naked smoking a joint.
Thank God. So he mentions the child is in a coma, and I took umbrage to this because I don't know if that's accurate. He is unresponsive, so he's either comatose or he's in a coma, because one involves being conscious and the other one isn't. Don't know. I'm thinking about it. Maybe I shouldn't.
I think comatose. Yeah,
because he's either catatonic or like you're responsive to stimuli when you're catatonic.
Oh, right. Okay.
But if you're in a coma,
gotcha.
Okay.
But they say he's in a coma. But if you're in a coma, you are unresponsive to stimuli.
Yeah.
Like
fuck it. Fuck it. So we cut to the killer, who stores the body in his truck and drives away.
Like you do.
Cut back to Lopez, who literally says to Midas, Lopez gets high in her underwear. That's it. That's the scene.
Jenny from the block.
Yeah,
it was the same thing in that Mecha movie she was in. What was that one?
Atlas. It was so bad.
Right.
Yeah, don't watch that one. Watch this one instead. We cut back from her in her underwear to he bleaches, cleans, then fucks a corpse.
Maybe.
I thought he like masturbates on top of it, sort of.
Yeah, we okay. So this dude has.
This is also the scene, where you learn.
This corpse.
Yeah.
No, I say fuck because there is a deleted scene where he does fuck a corpse, but you have to get like the German edition of the movie, which I'm not going to fucking bother.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he is like
something to this.
Absolutely. So he has like these metal hooks in his body, in the back of his body.
Like these big ass rings.
So he has big ring piercings in the back of his body. He's obviously into like suspension, which is a subculture scene in the BDSM area. And I remember being someone who in his 19-year-old 20s was into the BDSM scene and like body mod scene and piercing, that sort of stuff. It really came off like they were trying to make him more horrifying by having piercings.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It worked on me because every time I see that scene now, I get that weird tingling in my taint.
Well,
like when you're driving on a country road,
that looks incredibly painful.
Well, it doesn't look fun.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I feel like I sometimes might come off as a bit Puritan sex-wise, but you have to understand, I'm just lazy. I don't want to have gear. I'm serious, man. I got the equipment. It works cool. I'm grateful.
You're right. I can't see you suspending yourself by hooks and jerking off.
But I remember just thinking, like, oh, what, does he listen to Marilyn Manson too? Like, what's...
Exactly.
We'll get to that.
The real ones would be listening to, like, Einstürzende Neubauten.
Yeah.
Early shit, too.
Yeah.
On vinyl. Yeah. Because he's a dick.
So D'Onofrio, also during the scene when he's, like, jerking off above a corpse, while filming, D'Onofrio like passed out while doing this. He didn't actually pass out; he was just acting, but it freaked out everybody involved.
Looks real to me.
Yeah. So we cut back to Lopez is watching the finest of French animation, Fantastic World, Fantastic Planet.
Fantastic Planet. Oh yeah.
Check it out; it's really cool.
Very
And yes, she begins to lucid dream a world that is basically what everything looked like inside the child's mind for some reason,
J-Lo,
and it's a really cool transition.
1999 weed, just to remind everyone.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
So,
because
it's not-
some of the kids' nightmare psyche got scraped up inside of her brain.
that's what I'm thinking. All I'm thinking about is the transition scene because the camera is like looking at her blankets, and then like the horns kind of kick up, and the blankets become dunes of a desert.
dunes,
I'm
right.
like, that was really cool. I enjoyed that.
That was really cool.
That was a nice shot. And she's back in her dress, and she's like wants to know if the child is okay. And he kind of just comes up as like a weird seal mutant.
Lucky Luck the seal.
Mucky Luck the seal. Which is, that freaks her out, wakes her up, gives her an idea, I guess. I don't know. These are one of these things where it's like, did that have to be in the movie?
Yeah.
Do you guys think that was relevant to the plot?
The fact that I watched this movie way like 3 weeks ago for the last time, I don't remember it.
Cool.
No.
Cool. That answers my question. Thank
At
you.
this point, you're still following her motivation in the mini plot, but it's still like, oh, okay, where are these gonna where do these intersect?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's mysterious.
Yeah, I guess. So we're introduced. Then D'Onofrio jerks off above a corpse as he does, but then we're introduced to Vince Vaughn.
Van Vogt, Detective Van Vogt.
FBI finds the body, the bleached body with a collar welded on her neck.
Mm-hmm.
All it says in my notes is, God, Vaughn's acting is painful to me.
I remember coming out of this movie really wanting to have liked Van Vogt's acting, but it was not at all.
It's not. He was praised. This movie was largely panned, but his acting for some reason at the time, I guess, was praised.
I'll be that guy. I remember.
Well, I think it's because he went against type.
That's the only thing.
He was coming out of, Swingers was like this massive kind of like underground sort of sensation of a film. I don't think it captured the box office, but everybody I know had VHS.
Right.
And he was the funny guy. Like for a while, he had a really good run. And in the midst of that, he decided he was going to change gears, try to do some dramatic stuff. And I got to be honest with you, he didn't take me out of the movie at all. Because him and his partner,
oh my God,
they do some of the best competency porn here. Yes. They get shit done, man. They're good at their jobs. What the fuck? Like, they're almost too good at their jobs, and that's funny to me, and I love it.
I guess this is a moment to say, like, I was going to mention it later, but like when you're watching stuff, like the reason I can hate cops but like detective stories and like good crime stuff is because when you're experiencing this kind of media, you always have to remind yourself this takes place in a fictitious world where cops are not only good at their jobs but actually are like sometimes the good guy. You know what I mean?
Well, like what I like about this one
is a fiction.
It didn't waste a lot of time at all.
No,
like whenever they had to figure something out,
because they've been doing this for a while.
I think it's because whoever wrote this did not know how to write a mystery.
No, you're exactly right.
Absolutely,
because there's almost no tension. Like when you see how quickly. Well, first of all, the big thing is.
Oh, go ahead.
You think there's this ticking clock in the movie where, like, oh, we got to find this guy because he's like drowning girls and bleaching them, and it's bad. Yeah, right. Agreed. Cool. Let's see. Let's see how you do it. And very early in the film, they catch his ass.
Yeah, because it
doesn't work without them plugging him into the weird.
Exactly, because we're dropped into this nearing the end of their investigation. Yeah, because it's implied like he's killed a lot of people.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of like that. That was a really weird way to switch things up. It kind of puts another film's ending like in the first third.
Basically, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was. I gave it points for that.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, you kind of
pretty cool.
Well, they kind of kicks the chair over, and now I don't know what to expect next. I know that I've seen from the trailer that they're going to put him in the big red suit and stuff, and I know that he's going to get all like weird and freaky looking, but I don't know when it's going to happen, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And that's where the disappointment comes in.
Yeah. So anyway, his Lopez acting is fine. D'Onofrio's legendary Vaughn bugs me. That's the end.
Feel you. Yeah.
It's the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
He's playing it so straight.
He is.
And I think he's almost consciously doing it. You know, it's a very early dramatic role for him.
Yeah, that is conveyed.
I mean, it's charmless, and the whole thing.
He's got a couple of moments where he sneaks through, where they let him be himself. But I think he was like really excited and like invested in this. I had this vibe that he was like, "Hey, I'm doing this fucking weird like sci-fi movie, eh?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he went with it. He was fine. It didn't. I'm trying to think of like other performances that were just like Jared Leto in fucking House of Gucci.
Okay.
You know, like that'll take you right the fuck out of the movie, and then you stay out of the movie and you keep watching it and keep laughing because every time he shows up, he's like, "It's a me, Mario." It's fucking incredible. Like, I'll never shut up about that. How did this get made? Like, who tells Ridley Scott no anymore? Why is he talking about making a sequel to Alien Covenant? Don't, man, just take.
Oh God, don't do that.
Take the L. Some movies are just like hazing devices. You know,
God,
like
him and fucking
Path.
Cameron coming out pro AI is like disappointing.
Oh God. Yeah. Anyway, something less depressing than what you just said. The killer stalks a new victim. We are shown at this point, which is we're shown he gets weird headaches. So he's just like eating aspirin.
Just crunching it up.
This is
the point where no. We're going to get to it when we get to an actor I rather like seeing in movies, but keep a hold of that. And I have a rant on the top of this page for some reason about how like I hate the FBI, but I think hunting serial killers is okay.
All right, well, read it.
Out of all the dumb, evil shit the FBI has done, capturing serial killers, I'm okay with.
Okay.
When watching / reading detective stories, you're entering a fictitious world where the cops are really good at their job and aren't just shitheads.
Agreed.
Did you guys
100%.
ever watch The Killing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God, The Killing's so good.
Also really good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see The French Connection? There's some movies out there about shit.
Y'all ever watch The Wire?
Oh, God, I have the Wire tattooed on the inside of every inch of my skin.
Yeah.
That's fucking...
So, him and a bunch of cops and other investigative guys are just flipping through crime scene reports in public in a fucking diner talking about semen.
Yeah.
Who amongst us?
The procedural parts here are a little like there's just stuff like that that's a little kind of over the top.
Was it just because this was 2000 and you could just do that back then?
It was a little edgelordy, but I spent a lot of time hanging out in diners, and that's not beyond the pale for me. Like, it didn't even faze me.
Okay. It's one thing if we're all hanging out and talking about serial killers and cum. It's another when it's just a bunch of cops with like, you know, investigation documents of like dead women talking about.
Hanging out at a diner at a truck stop. I'm fine.
I'm from New Jersey, so I know about diners. Yeah,
this is a Denny's.
No. All right, you know what? Fair enough. So they find the dog's hair that will blow this case wide open.
It's just competency porn of the highest
They
level.
find out the dog is an albino.
It's
which is a rare dog.
It's another character actor on the team that brings back the science verdict. I forget his name, but he's always in these procedurals like that.
And you know what? He is fucking awesome. Like, he is my favorite character in the movie.
Who's the guy with the mustache?
Nah.
No, his assistant.
Oh, his assistant's great. Yeah,
his assistant's phenomenal. He's kind of like that guy we all liked in Older States.
Yes,
like he just gets shit done. He's kind of funny, and like I don't know, like he's a good partner. It's funny to me because
he's such a side character too.
Well, here's the thing though: whenever he shares a scene with Vaughn, they're kind of.
You're talking about Alan Cummings' character, right?
Was that fucking Alan Cumming?
I'm pretty sure that was Alan Cumming, guys.
Was that? No.
That was fucking Nightcrawler. And what else?
I don't know. He's great. He does. Son of a bitch. I didn't even put that together, man. He looks so different in this.
Yeah, and he acts differently.
He's great. Yeah. No, he's... Really? Are you fucking serious? Anyway,
Pretty sure it was him.
The two of them are... Whenever they share a scene together, it's really interesting because it doesn't seem like Vaughn's trying to dominate the scene.
No.
They really are. You get a vibe that they're a team. And
they did a good job of conveying two men who have been on the same case for a very long while.
Yeah.
And that it was it worked out.
Yeah.
So they used the dog hair. Oh, wait, hold on. No, we have to talk about when he captures this poor woman.
All right.
Because the dog's an accomplice. The dog is not guiltless in this.
Yes.
It's kind of neat how they're presenting like his act of catching the girl at the same time as the cops are sort of like figuring out what his MO is, and they kind of cut back and forth. It's
yeah.
It makes it what's happening, but it makes it more interesting and more palatable.
Yeah. Because she is in a parking garage, which she should never do. Just don't go to parking garages, I guess. But she does But she does a smart thing, because you're gonna get, if you're in a movie, you're gonna get kidnapped in a parking garage. Like I've seen that one Saw, like it's gonna happen.
No, it was Jake Weber.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Jake Weber, and his character's name is Gordon Ramsay. So it was prophetic. No one knew what.
Oh, amazing!
What he would become.
So she sees the long stretch of parking garage between her and her car, and she does the correct thing, which is pull the fucking pepper spray out. Walks to her car, backs it up, and then you hear the dog like, ah! And you think she thinks she hit the dog. She gets out of the car, and then he nabs her. But the old chloroform over the face. Mm-hmm. Apparently she didn't actually hit the dog. He just put a brick there, and he trained the dog to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah.
And then again, like the way they do this is kind of, what's happening, but the shot is just like from far away. You really just see their legs. It's well done. Everything that they present is not something like new. It's going to happen. When you see it, it's like, okay, that's
it's uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah. It was a good job of making you think for a split second it's going to be okay.
Yes.
And that's a hell of a trick.
It is. Again, this is like to a point where I'm like, because it's not a horror movie, but he did a good job.
Well, the thing is too, like, as we've seen now, especially, horror is amorphous. Like,
it's subjective, absolutely.
When way back in the day, some of the scariest movies I saw were like, what was that one? The Changeling with George C. Scott.
Yes,
Dude,
fucking wheelchair coming out of the attic at them. I'm haunted by it. I'm haunted by it to this day.
I mean, and it's there's not a lot. It's not like gore.
It's all sound and cutaways. Yeah.
And the other thing too is like a slasher movie. It really doesn't feel like horror to me.
Yeah, it depends who's it's eye the beholder. Like I don't consider Seven a horror movie
because it's a thriller.
But it sits there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Midsummer.
Yes.
Like what a wild thing to be, fucking horrifying, like a sunny ass movie. It's fantastic to do.
That's why horror is brilliant. It can be everything and anything at once.
But the trick of it is, does it make you, the viewer, bothered? Because horror is there to make you uncomfortable. It's there to put you in a fucking dangerous place in a safe way.
Yeah.
And some people I don't think get past like I have a friend who's like super knowledgeable about like slasher films and stuff like that. I always respected his opinion on these things. And like recently he was just like, yeah, man, I think Terrifier sucks. Like it's just
oh yeah, no, Terrifier is bullshit. Like it's
and like on one level,
the scariest thing about it is the person who made it.
I guess I'm happy that everyone's making money on such a low budget.
Sure,
if it's great, but I'm
probably not going to watch it. Usually, when I watch slasher films, I think they're funny. Like that one French one you recommended to me way back when.
Which one?
Why can't I remember the name? It's French.
Man Bites Dog.
No, the other one.
High Tension.
Yes.
High Tension rocks.
Laugh my ass off. It's an incredible movie. Watch High Tension. There was so much blood I had to laugh.
It's good. That first one with the
when he kicks the guy's head off, I laugh. I just goofed. It was amazing. Anyway, yeah, that's why I'm laughing. Okay. Yeah, that's the mark of a good slasher movie. If I start laughing. Anyway, so Vaughn apparently just lives at the fucking office because his partner comes in. This is like, again, a good indication of these two characters' relationship. He's like, did you sleep? Because he's brushing his teeth like in a conference room, like putting on deodorant, like spitting in a cup and shit. He's like, did you sleep? He's like, no. He's like, well, they're expecting you. He's like, yep, I'm good. Let's go.
And that's so extreme, Agent. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, right. I'll take it.
Sure.
I like it.
So, sure. So he gives them the rundown of like who they're after. Like who the guy is. They get a match with the dog hair to a specific breeder in a specific area, and the FBI raid. I have to say, it was pretty cool and well shot.
Stop right here, right now,
Stop
this moment. The most unbelievable thing in the whole fucking movie: SWAT team kicks down the door, isolates this guy, and they don't kill the dog.
I wrote that down too.
I lost it. I lost the
It's
thread.
my mind too, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait. It says wait. It's somewhere in my notes where I did say where I'm like, and they that's how you know, like
This is fiction.
this is they killed the dog immediately.
Took me right out of the movie.
Yeah, because before this, we get Carl is in the tub. That's the character's name is Carl.
Right.
That's when in my brain when I was writing this, I remember the characters' names all of a sudden. So Carl is in the tub and he's singing and he's chilling, and then he has a brain.
Oh man!
He has a brain
what
attack.
what is he singing though? He is singing.
What is he singing? I don't remember. I don't know.
It's the fucking. It's
I don't remember.
the scene from Twin Peaks. You know what I'm talking about with Ray Wise.
I never saw Twin Peaks.
Oh god damn it!
I don't remember.
It's like he sings a song like if Dozy Dotes and
Mares eat oats and does
Yeah.
eat oats and little lambs eat ivy.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably
I
off
just-
the cuff too for
I
him.
just
missed
remember
that.
that from fucking Twin Peaks where Ray Wise
That's
sings
really
that
funny.
for like 5 minutes.
Good pick.
And it's
I
meant
missed-
to be
I missed that
uncomfortable.
one.
But it's oh my god.
It's just him chilling.
Burned into my mind.
Well, no, it's
What have you done?
Patrons get a 5-minute longer version of this episode where we do that for 5 minutes at the end. Just
So,
kidding. Not going to happen.
no. So
he gets the pain in the brain that makes it difficult to live.
yeah, he ends up like this thing's attacking him. He runs to the kitchen to like consume another bottle of Tylenol. and
Aspirin,
then-
what the fuck ever.
yeah, and this is where I put in my notes. This is where we could talk about it. Is I don't know why they just didn't say he had a brain tumor,
Yeah.
Sure.
which would have made way more sense than whatever the fuck they
Actually,
say
that's what
later.
happened,
Yeah.
right.
And we know about that. This,
Yeah,
whoever wrote this didn't know much about
no.
Neurology?
mental illness or psychology.
Absolutely not.
whatsoever, Beyond, what if we had a cool machine that would let you jump inside somebody else's head and like?
And that's fine.
Make
That's
them
the
brain
fiction
pops.
part. But it would have aided the story more if you go to because it is documented. If you have a brain tumor, that can cause you mental illness.
Right.
Obviously.
And it has to be one that you can't operate on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
you can totally
documented.
do
Yeah, it's been documented where it's like people with brain tumors can have God only knows what happened to you, but with your head. But the point
My
is,
God, we're writing a better version of this right now.
always.
So after they don't kill the dog, they find his wet ass, dead ass body on the kitchen floor, and
Yeah,
he's
he's just passed
good
out.
scene of all his rings in his back, and
I have a little note here saying I'm very jealous of this character's like collage collection in his attic. I'm like, oh, it's very nice because this always happens when I watch something with a serial killer in it. There's always something where I'm like, oh, it's very nice because I like collage art.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, that's very nice. I wish I had the space to do that. Oh,
I do
Well,
remember that though. That
For
was-
me, it was like when all the cops say like they get their guns out, they're all like surrounding him and shit. And I'm just like, they killed Sonic.
ding 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 ding, ding.
oh, God.
Yeah, his rings are just right there. They didn't fall off or nothing, but they're just like they're all there. And I was just like, Sonic, no.
And I
So
guess
we
like the next scene, they're like looking at some X-rays.
Yeah,
or
we get it. We get an actor I love to see in things who is Pruitt Taylor Vince. He plays the doctor
Mhm.
because Vaughn wants to take him to a special doctor that he knows and trusts.
Mhm.
And the actor is Pruitt Taylor Vince, and I like seeing him in things. He was the for quick reference that all of us will know. It's he was the priest in Constantine.
Mhm.
He's
Right.
I think he's a fine actor. He's a guy I like to see.
He is brilliant. He was in Deadwood for a couple seasons. He's amazing.
He's a great actor.
Great everything.
He's a great character actor.
Yeah.
But not with the dog shit dialogue they gave him.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, quote, Wayland's infraction is not a real form. Okay, so I have personal stuff. I have a personal beef with like anything involving like inaccurate depictions of schizophrenia, as a lot of people do. So Wayland's infraction is not a real form of schizophrenia, nor can schizophrenia be triggered by a transmitted by a disease. It's not by a virus. It cannot. You cannot get schizophrenia or anything that you could, maybe something that resembles it. But again, schizophrenia is very specific. You can't get it from transmissible disease. There was no test, because they end up talking about tests and shit. There's actually no test for schizophrenia, but it's diagnosed by observation. Genetics and environment play a role in developing schizophrenia. It's a psychosis, and schizophreniacs aren't serial killers.
And it's oftentimes a very catch-all. I don't
for
know
years
what's wrong
it was for so long. It was not just in media, also in medicine as well.
Not exactly a misdiagnosis, but
that is not accurate. It's
if you are going to watch cinema from the late 60s up until maybe the mid-aughts.
Oh my god.
Basically everything after Sean Penn did I Am Sam and everybody went, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would use the word schizo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
to
god.
describe anybody that was acting a little weird. And it'd be like,
we all did,
we all did.
It was 2000s. What do you want? But it
was the 70s.
That too.
I mean, all right, you could probably find an episode of Donahue.
Oh god,
man, I'm just dropping bombs on y'all that you ain't gonna fucking remember.
Not even a little
in
bit.
case you're not aware of what schizophrenia is like, you're more of a danger to yourself than you are to others.
You are detached from reality, and you kind of don't understand social norms and tend to be very defensive.
I think that they did bring up. No, that was in Altered States. They were talking about how schizophrenia,
much smarter film.
Yes.
Even with the monkey man.
There are bits in that one about schizophrenia. I kind of adhere to that, but that's just because I'm a dickhead. So
not accurate, but it's also somehow better than this dog shit movie.
No, here's the thing.
Well, I think that
schizophrenia is a product of its time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the research available.
Absolutely.
What they said
used what they had at the time, which wasn't where we're at now by any fucking stretch of the
What
imagination.
they said about schizophrenics being tuned into a different reality, though, I can see that.
Sure, but that's only because you believe things that aren't real.
And I think that's the pitch that made. You know what I mean? I think that's the leap it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is someone with firsthand experience. I would say that's more obviously it's not 100% accurate, but it is more accurate saying it's that's because when you're schizophrenic, you can fall into delusion territory where you believe things that simply are not true.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie's dog shit. All in all, diagnosis of schizophrenia is very lazy.
Well, the thing is, we also see schizophrenics as a sort of, I don't know. They used to have jobs. They were oracles back in the day.
I don't even know how accurate that is. I think we will never know that.
Yeah, we'll never know that.
I don't think that's accurate.
That's too long a game of telephone.
I guess.
I do not believe that is accurate.
There might be though, man. I don't know.
Anyway,
crazy election,
I mean, let's be honest. I kind of think those kind of people were just killed with rocks.
Yeah.
More often than not.
Yeah, more often than not.
So, anyway, it's a lazy diagnosis, and we're actually going to talk about Carl's abusive upbringing as well later. That actually has more accurate to how you develop horrendous mental illness. But
that went hard.
But weirdly enough, Vince Vaughn has a good argument of there are people who also went through this and didn't become serial killers, which is true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same argument we used to do whenever there's a mass shooting and they're like, we got to really pay attention to mental illness. And I'm like, motherfucker, not
it's a very ableist outlook.
Yeah. Anyway, I like
so many of those guys, and I have a machete at best.
Yeah, that's true.
I gotta really want it if I'm gonna hurt myself with that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, this is the part where they go down into his basement now that they've arrested him, and all it says in my notes is, "Wow, I like Carl's setup. What great hobbies he has." We get a hint of plot where he sees the Carver brand table. Yeah, I can't wait to hear you talk about that later.
Competency boner here.
I mean, right up front there. If you walk into somebody's basement and there's a giant industrial meat slab, wouldn't that be one of the first clues you run down without having to go to the schizophrenic dream clinic?
Yeah.
So taking him to that thing is kind of just a whole it kind of slowed the investigation.
Well, you see, Zero, you're thinking about it. What you need you to do is not think about it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that part again.
This is the super reach. What we
Yes.
have now is the ticking time clock, because there is a woman in the basement in the tank.
Yes,
There's a missing woman.
Because we see, like,
Is catatonic, and
Yes.
they put 1 and 4 together to make 2 and realize, oh, the kid in the coma is just like this serial killer. And,
I guess, like,
but like,
I don't.
that's what makes the movie go. I don't know if it makes the movie work.
I don't know, because we get like the previous girl's dying moments because he was like watching them because he records them. That's terrifying. Good actress, very good for something that's being.
That was a
seen
very
through, like,
strong piece of the movie.
Yeah, it's chilling. Then we cut to his latest victim, who awakes in this fucking incredible, awful cell,
And her transformation.
and I see what you did there with the cell.
Time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but the her transformation, like as she's in this tank, was
good.
really well done.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
She's actually she would later form a all-female art collective. She does a lot of stuff, actually. She's actually.
What's her name?
I can look it up in a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because I'm good at my job.
She's like this good Christian girl. She's got like a gold cross around her neck, and like wears long skirts and stuff like that. And she, she becomes more and more desperate.
Now that you're describing it, it kind of reads like a typo negative video. Keep going.
But as she becomes more desperate, as the tank starts filling up, she's
like, I'm not fucking dying here.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's
like, fuck you piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what that set reminded me of? It just occurred to me. I'm pulling this from 3 weeks ago. It was you guys remember that 9 Inch Nails like VHS that came out for Broken?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy get on the table and he's
That Bob Flanagan video. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember it quite well.
It's fucking incredible. This really felt like they were trying to make like the 5th or like the 7th video for it or something like that.
Definitely later on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
That's the aesthetic I see here. Is this like clean
Definitely.
This is like
brutal.
The hint of it, and then like they really deliver on a lot of those things later. We'll get into. I got a list here.
Yeah. Her name is Tara Subkoff. She is a conceptual artist, made an all-female art collective, has directed and written movies.
Hell yeah.
She's a fashion designer as well. Yeah, she's done like a lot of shit.
Disco.
Yeah, she's actually really good in this. Also, funny story with this movie, as the water fills the tank, because the original actress they were going to have play this role like quit. She couldn't do it. Something came up.
Yeah.
And she got the job. And she's like, and they asked her, like, hey, can you like hold your breath? Because, you're going to be fully submerged in water. Like, and she's like, yeah, I used to be a lifeguard. She could only hold her breath if she pinched her nose. And Singh was so mad. Because again, Singh is like an artiste. So he takes things personally. So he was just angry at her the whole time.
He's like a method director, if there's such a
Yeah.
There's several auteurs that are like great to work with.
Oh yeah, I don't know if he's great to work with.
I'm not sure. Yeah, because he hasn't made much. Like I've only maybe 4, maybe 5 movies.
Yeah, I don't know if he's great to work with because all of the fun facts I found about this movie, it's usually him getting mad or people getting mad at him. Which is probably just what goes into making a movie. But he took this one personally because they had to film around that.
Yeah.
But she's really cool. Check out her work. So where am I? So basically, victim awakens. Carl, the way they describe what he is now because of his made-up diagnosis, Carl's basically dreaming forever. And this is where the ticking clock begins.
He's like in a bliss state, too. Like he's in his, like, you have the what do they call it? Like a mind palace.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, he's just forever mind palacing. So they rush him to the center to enter your mind, which again, because we see the outside of it this time. And for this shot, that's in Spain.
Yeah. I remember
this place is in Spain. Again, producers fucking hated him. Because they're like, we could film this anywhere. No, I know where this is.
So anyways, they throw him into Dream Raper, and then...
Yeah, they throw him into the thing because they have to convince Jennifer Lopez and everyone, because everyone's like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. The board okayed it. But she's the only one who could do it. She has the
Right.
training.
And the cop's like, "Oh, come on," and he's like, "No."
Oh, her character's name is Catherine as well.
I'm imagining
Oh, right,
her from
right.
Boston now.
Yeah, God, that accent, his acting, God.
Honest to God, I don't think it's that bad. Like, it really isn't. I kept waiting for there to be the scene because I knew you hated it. And I was like, I'm sitting there rewatching it. This is the first time in like 20 years I've watched this movie.
Am I just prejudiced against people from Boston? Like,
It still fell flat for me.
his acting just
I'm
did
not
not
saying
work.
he should be up for a fucking Oscar or anything. But what I'm saying is like, yeah, he pulled it off.
No,
Yeah, like
right.
in as much as this movie works, he wasn't the reason that took me out of it. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like maybe too much of him.
Maybe, yeah, that's probably my biggest complaint.
Yeah.
Is there's
There's
just
a
too much.
lot.
Yeah.
It's
we're
really
gonna-
the fuck down.
Because now we're going to dive in. Because they put Carl into the device. And then Lopez is like, okay, boot me up. They put her in, and she dives in. Again, cool tech. We get the whole transition scene of her going from being awake into this dude's mind. And here's a shot that has lived with me since I was a kid when I first saw this on TV. Is when they drop him in, she experiences this very early image. And the way they shot this is you're in water, you rise up out of the water, and you see a baptism.
Mm-hmm.
Of this
It's
person,
fantastic.
this kid, it's an amazing shot. This
And the
kid being
camera turns
baptized.
upside
I do
down.
want to
Yeah.
say,
It hits the water, and you're upside down, and then you keep going through the water, somehow through the floor, through the water.
Mhm.
And she wakes up in water in this like impossible architecture hallway. And that shot's lived with me since I was a kid.
Every time someone wakes up in his mind, they wake up in a pool of water. The
Yes.
water's like the portal for him.
Yes.
I do really like the visual transitions between, like, when she first connects as well.
Yes.
Just it's pretty cool.
Oh, even when she's
It's
there.
the most colorful thing.
Yeah, like the color, like the sound, like this is
overstimulating.
This is
Yeah, this is what are we talking now? Maybe about like 10 years after, or maybe less, maybe 8 years or so after the Mind's Eye videos that everybody in the mid 90s took acid and watched on VHS, which was just like the rudimentary CGI that morphed into weird stuff, and
Lawnmower man ass shit. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Lawnmower Man stole from those. You know what I mean? Like they straight up sampled that shit, and this was like way better.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is where we could all agree. This is the movie.
Yeah, well, this is what sold me on this. Like I said, like being 19 or 20 years old, coming out of the theater. Let me lay some influences on you, and you guys can agree or disagree.
Right.
Dave McKean from the Sandman covers.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my god.
Brothers Quay from the Tool videos.
Yes.
The fantasy artist Brahm.
Oh god, yes.
The Renaissance artist Bruegel, The Triumph of Death.
Yes, I know that one. Yeah.
And the Body Worlds exhibit, the Corpovelden that was
Oh
going
my
around
God,
in the early
yeah.
2000s. Yeah, all of those are in this movie from this point on.
100%.
Wonderful.
That's like the horse, straight up, right?
Exactly.
They took a lot of inspiration too from other artists and paintings and whatnot.
Right.
It's impactful. Like you can do that in your media if you want to take from like classic paintings and whatnot. It's provocative, and for this, it makes sense because you're in some dude's head.
Right.
It like there's strange cuts too because she's in again like this brutalist looking impossible architecture hallway, and there's like weird cuts, and they're very sudden, and you're like it's off putting until you remember she's just in like the uber dream space.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense. Like how would you move around someone's mind?
Right. Are you walking? Or is there real estate? No,
You're just there. And it made sense. Like we get weird visuals with a dog. Like
shit. Like I was hanging out with Shadowlink yesterday and I told him about this lucid dream I had where I had to fight a Superman Dracula. I was stuck in concrete and I couldn't reach the kryptonite crucifix.
Oh, that's the most you think I've ever.
I was young too. I was like 12.
Oh man,
it fucked me up, man. I woke up in a sweat.
Man,
well, here's the scene that fucked me up. Is when
terrifying.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah,
well,
you need two things to stop them now. You know.
Well, here's the scene that fucked me up as a kid. Because remember, I saw this on TV when I was a kid. The horse scene.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't censor that shit.
Nope. We see. So we're in. She finds. Oh yeah, we haven't gotten to that. But yeah, the horse scene. My notes are pretty minimal for this because I know it by heart.
She finds young Carl.
She finds young Carl, this child, and with a horse in this weird, like, kind of medical looking clockwork room. And she walks up and she's like, oh, he's pretty. Like, does he have a name? My other friend has a horse, talking about the other kid. And Carl's like, obviously confused who this woman is in his dreamscape.
And really nervous.
Yes, as I would be. I would be like, who the fuck are you? Which we'll get to. But
Jayla, why are you in my horse room? That's what I'd be like.
That has a lot of connotations. Thank you. It's awful.
God. Oh, God.
I don't have that kind of room. And again, I don't use tools, man.
Okay. Well, he's like runs away and she's like, oh, well, where are you going? And there's a clock and it's ticking down. And Carl's not sure if he should do what he's about to do, but he does. He runs up, pushes her out of the way, and these glass slabs just come down on this horse.
Yeah.
I don't know if bisect is the right word.
Decimates.
Yeah,
I mean, it cuts it into slivers.
Like,
and then,
pulls
apart.
Pieces, I guess.
Yeah.
The
one thing I didn't think to look for.
Yeah.
Was what happened to the tail. Like, did the tail get split, or did the tail in its entirety fit into one of the gaps?
I think it fit into one of the gaps because the horse is also still alive.
Yeah. Because if you cut the tail, then the stuff would fall.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like its legs are twitching. Oh, man.
Why am I thinking?
It is very...
I don't know. Yeah, the heart... Yeah, I like it.
Between it, the heart's still beating. It's fucked up. It's
amazing.
Really
the CGI actually is pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
It's actually quite good.
Yeah, I did not actually think about that was CGI until just now.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this guy's crazy enough. He might actually just split a horse up.
Yeah. I like Shadowlink how your brain was like, yeah, they totally cut that horse apart and it's still there.
Well, I mean, like you said,
this is like maybe practical effects or something.
This is the part that was
yeah.
That reminded me the most of the Korpovelden exhibit.
Yes.
A plasticized horse in cross sections like this is really impactful.
Because I was going to say there are, I don't want to say artists, but I've been to medical museums where like they would do this to either people or animals, and it's a way to see a cross section of something for medical purposes.
Very Mutter Museum. Very Mutter Museum.
Have you ever been? Mutter Museum's sick.
Many times.
It's so racist.
You're one of the lucky ones who can go to a doctor. You usually have a cross section sitting on any of the walls of the waiting room. It's just
we're just meat.
Yeah, any doctor's office,
any doctor's office will reaffirm the fact that we are meat.
I remember being terrified of like the little skull thing from the dentist as a kid.
I was down with it.
Mm-hmm. So she finds his victims because she's walking, and this is where we enter Marilyn Manson music video territory.
Yeah, this is like the display room and trophy room or whatever.
The trophy room, yeah, because she enters this hallway, and she ends up for some reason deciding I'm going to turn this crank, which releases one of his many mental sex slaves, who is a gigantic.
Very Mist, the video game. She's like, there's a switch. Let's hit it. Oh,
yeah, it's a bunch of
heard a sound in the distance.
Yeah, because everything is like, I don't know if this is supposed to convey that his mind is like labyrinthine, but it's like there's all these mechanisms. There are so many things that do things. One of them, she just happened to crank the one that releases the giant bodyguard sex slave.
Yeah.
Which also another fun fact. So usually when you're a lady bodybuilder, you do not have large breasts. Mm-hmm. She had gigantic breasts. Those were prosthetics. Those were painted on because they wanted to make sure you knew this is a woman.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Whatever. So it's a bunch of his victims all on display.
Is this the same actress from Strange Days, the bodybuilder chick that was the bodyguard? I was wondering about that.
We don't see enough of her.
Yeah,
she's got a lot of makeup on.
She's got a lot of makeup on. She's always kind of off shot and blurry.
There's a photograph of her when the camera pans over. Hang on.
Okay.
Anyway, phenomenal presence.
Kim Chizevsky.
Okay.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't look that up. I was too distracted.
No, she was
I like
one
to
of them.
think that this is the woman who, in my head canon, that this is the woman who plays Starla from Napoleon Dynamite.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, why not? Oh
Why
shit! Did Carl kill her? Holy shit! Because because it's not made clear who she is. If she's just like a mental defense, like she's a fantasy,
Yeah.
or if she was actually one of his victims, and this is how he thinks about her.
I thought maybe it was like an aspect of himself, like he's got some
Maybe.
kind of.
Because we meet what. So basically, we see
I
all
don't-
this.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't. No.
Yeah.
He's just kind of there to be provocative. Ooh.
Well, in
We
the
could
same
talk
way,
about this for an hour.
in the same way that I
This
felt
one
like
scene, yes, absolutely.
the focus on the body piercing was just like kind of making it orientalizing it. I think this is kind of like it's kind of an androgynous figure, and of course it's like a mental aspect of this psycho killer. I
Yeah.
did kind of feel like,
That's
okay.
so
Yeah.
Well,
spooky,
yeah,
guys.
it's like presenting this woman as a threat.
Yeah, it especially now when I learned too
That's
that it just kind of
what it
gave her like
turns out.
bolt-on fake tits. Like
Yeah.
it was like, all right.
There was just a lot of a couple instances where I think the imagery they were trying too hard, but this is coming from a 19-year-old goth kid, so
Sure. Sure. The bodybuilder is kind of hit or miss. His victims, as they are displayed, make a lot of sense because he is a serial killer. This is how he thinks about them. Is all like grotesque and like on display and whatnot. And the makeup's really good. Makeup's great.
Yeah.
Actually, the makeup was award winning. They won an award for their use of makeup and clothing.
You know what? Fair.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
well, all these dream sequences are over the top.
amazing. Yes, they're
We'll get
incredible.
to the disappointing ending of this one.
Yeah, so the guard knocks her. The giant muscle woman knocks out Jennifer Lopez and carries her off to another scene that has lived in my head since I was a kid, which is the throne room.
yeah.
So fucking cool.
Yeah.
Brings
No,
Jennifer.
this movie, knowing that you watched this as a kid, explains a lot about you.
Well, this is where it gets really dark fantasy Brahm
It's
kind of
awesome. So she dumps her in the front of this throne room. This throne room is big,
massive
orange,
dais,
massive,
massive
impossible
dais.
architecture.
Mm.
And it's D'Onofrio done up in incredible makeup, like inhuman, in a pose, like as if he's a statue. Notices she's there, gets up, and he has the rings in his back, like big ones though, connected to a cape that, to emphasize this is his, is wrapped around the room itself.
The entire room, the entire
Yes.
wall tapestry that was like kind of waving is just pulled from his back down like a cloak.
Yeah.
Like every time it takes a step, it like thwacks it through one of these rails that was holding it up.
Yeah, and it's just
awesome.
flowing. It's incredible.
Fucking great.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And he asks the obvious question.
Like I said, you do not see things like this.
No,
Anyway.
please. Oh,
It's a singular moment in cinema for sure.
yes. And he asked the question that any of us would ask: "Who are you?" And he sounds.
And she pinches her fucking hand and leaves, and it's
Yeah,
like
she
God
freaks the
damn it.
fuck out and hits the escape button.
He didn't
Like,
say,
you didn't
where did you come from? I thought he said, where did you come
Yeah,
from?
where did you come
Yeah,
from?
That's exactly what he says.
And he sounds dark, but he also, we'll get to it a little bit, he sounds like kind of a child. He's not smart. Like he speaks in like, go, like, who, yeah, like that kind of voice.
Right.
And he's the dark one. He's like this overlord of his mind.
Dark Lenny.
Yeah.
Dark Lenny.
Dark
It's
Carl.
it's an interesting choice that they decided that that's his voice.
Wasn't Carl their neighbor in Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
That's all I keep thinking about.
That's all we all ever think about. Aqua Teen Hunger Force was a tour de force in
Especially Carl.
in animation.
Behold.
He was such a great piece of shit.
Yeah. So she
Yeah, that was
wakes
very
up.
telling. Where like he doesn't care who she is. He's asking where did you come from, because he's been in this like inner heaven forever,
Yes.
as far as he is concerned.
Yeah.
He's like
I
very
am a god
intimate.
king in my own nightmare world.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I know everything in my trophy room. You know, like what are you?
Like, who the fuck are you? Yeah, exactly. This is where we establish, because she wakes up and we get some exposition from one of the other side character doctors, ladies. If you believe what is happening, it becomes real. Your body makes it real. So we're using like the Matrix logic.
Nightmare on
Pretty
Elm
much.
Street technology.
Yeah.
For me,
Nightmare
this is the instant when I connected it to another childhood movie that messed me up, Dreamscape,
Yep.
where if you
Mhm.
die in your dreams, you die in real life.
Was that Dennis Quaid?
Yes.
Yeah, that movie. Fuck. Does it have the crazy snakehead guy?
Yes.
Yes, Nightmare Fuel.
For a 7-year-old, it absolutely was.
Oh,
For
it
a-
was Nightmare Fuel.
So we get a little exposition. We cut back to his victim, who is now being periodically dumped in water.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not all... Excuse me. It's not all at once.
Yeah, he doesn't do it fast for some reason. He just
No.
kind of like does it on a regular schedule. Maybe something about the cost during the time of day from the
think it's
utility
just
company.
scary.
I don't know.
I think it's...
scary.
I think
Yeah,
it's...
he's
Just to ratchet up the tension.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be there. It adds to the ticking clock aspect of the plot.
I did really appreciate like the whole automated bits because
It's scary.
in terms of like genre, like this does have a lot of notes of like post cyberpunk. And
It's a little proto saw as well.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
It's interesting to see all these little pieces kind of interact in a way that I've never really seen happen before. Even
For me, it's the visuals, because I've always wanted, when doing cyberpunk, where it's like your visuals and technology can be esoteric.
Yeah.
And that's what this is, because everything is very artsy. A lot of it's metaphor, because it involves the mind. And I'm like, your shit doesn't have to look like boxy technology. As much as I enjoy anime technology or 90s anime tech, your shit can look weird.
Yeah.
And honestly, like even in the real world, a lot of the interstitial shots, like when they're moving from one place to another, are very dreamlike.
Yes.
They're kind of slowed down. A lot of there's a lot of helicopter flight, and then they sort of slow it down. The music, really a good choice, I think, because it makes even the waking world.
I did like that. Yeah, no, I did like that.
So I like this a lot for those reasons as well. Because I don't, man, I like it's at least reaching.
It's trying.
I was trying to present a almost like somewhat tired subject with a new focus, new lens on it. And
because again, we just talked about some of the most awesome, memorable shit you'll see in cinema, and yet we get lines like, "quote His mind so damaged by the virus, he can't will himself to move. All it says in my notes is fuck off."
The best part about it is I don't remember anything about the scenes where they're sitting.
Yeah, those are the worst parts.
The dialogue is a little masturbatory. It moves the story forward, but it's like
because this is where we get exposition. This is where we get. I'm sorry, I can't keep cutting you off, but like this is where we get exposition, is when she's out of the dream world, where they have to like build the world by just fucking talking. Right. So Carl, like she describes that Carl has like an idolized version of himself, where he's like a dark lord and can basically indulge in all his perversity that he wants. Yeah. More exposition, blah, blah.
Who doesn't? I mean, right?
Sure, absolutely. Like, it's his mind. You're all sovereigns of our own mind.
And you know what? Here's the fucked up part. Here's another thing about this movie. If this young woman weren't stuck in this cell and there wasn't this ticking clock, fine. Problem solved. Cool.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Besides, like a huge violation of like, but he's a serial killer, so fuck him. But like, this technology is terrifying in the sense of like, this would be a very different movie of the idea of doing it to like, because they are doing it to unwilling people, with the exception of helping them or others.
Yeah.
But it is pretty sinister, and like, again, his reaction, like, what are you doing here? It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Oh, and we're also, this is that one of those things, one of those tropes in movies that it always bothers me, but I never think to bring up. Here's this tech that invades your mind, and we are only shown one positive aspect of it.
Yeah.
And they don't even suggest that this might be used like on spies or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Yeah. There's a military setting for this. Of course there is, and we know that now, but it never would have fucking come out in 2000.
That's why we've got Inception, you guys.
I mean, that's a good observation. Yeah.
Give it a year.
9/11's not till next year, right? Yeah.
It's funny you bring up Inception, because like I like that movie, but it makes sense that they would try and bring structure to their dream world when they're dreaming, because they're trying to rob his brain, and it's kind of like that kind of movie. Where I do like about The Cell of, no, we're going in raw, so this is going to all be weird metaphor shit.
Yeah.
And I do like that. Anyway, so we get exposition I don't fucking care about. Vaughn was an attorney. He talks to Jennifer Lopez, talks about his past to arrest child molester who gets released due to corrupt evidence. He murders the little girl. He murders a little girl. He gets into a
chemistry.
We didn't need any of it.
It's very
chemistry is not great.
It's very baking soda and vinegar.
This part reeked of a cop trying to coerce a confession. Like he just made up a story to tell her. But I mean, you don't have to do it. Just like But like, remember that I did this thing. But like, you don't have to do it.
Right.
I do like though that they don't have chemistry, and the movie kind of confirms that by the end.
Yeah,
I do like. No, I do like it. They aren't romantic at all, which I appreciate. Maybe because of what happens later. Anyway, we get Vince Vaughn's past. Don't care. Carl's positive side is obviously the kid, and
he has the different.
God, I hate
of
that.
himself. He has the big thing, and then the little innocent kid who was like beaten all the time, and it's like,
Vince Vaughn also says during exposition something which I thought was interesting for the movie, where he's like, a lot of people, because she sees, we'll get to it, but she sees stuff, his abuse. And he's like, well, yeah, there are a lot of people who are mentally ill, a lot of people who've gone through horrible shit, because the idea is the killer that he was dealing with to put away, was sexually abused himself. And but he's like, yeah, but other people would sexually abuse and don't cut a little girl open. You're right. However,
statistically speaking, I mean,
it's complicated. Again, that was something where I'm like, you're not wrong. Which was the only, compared to the dog shit takes on mental illness in this movie, that was the one thing where I'm like, well, at least that's kind of right,
Yeah. Well, again, it's the same thing with criminal justice. He gave his little spiel about,
God,
cut off on a technicality, and then that night, that little girl.
God, I fucking
not on me.
That was a huge eye roll moment.
Didn't need that at all.
Hated.
Care less about his character now because of it.
Listen, the fucking insanity plea does not work. It doesn't work. It's a fucking Hail Mary.
You have to be very far gone.
Yeah.
Because there are times...
really well connected.
Yes.
Yes.
Because, it does happen, but, you have to be so far gone. And again, in America today, that rarely works because they're, people who are mentally ill get the death penalty constantly, which is another conversation.
People who are mentally ill are like any other machine. If they're not a benefit, they're a hazard.
Yeah, fuck the death penalty. Anyway, she drops back in, making the movie interesting again. But it starts as a waking dream where they're like, hey, the power's out. Can you get up and go flip the switch? I know you're drugged, but she's like, oh, all right. She gets up, and then the room slowly, she gets smaller, but the room stays the same size.
Very Alice in Wonderland. Very Alice in Wonderland.
It was pretty cool.
Very Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, and she's like, oh shit, I'm in. And she transitions to a glass box, which I guess his brain has defenses now. Yeah. And again, we get some beautiful, impossible architecture.
Yes.
Because she falls out of the box upside down through cyclopean brickwork. It's really cool.
Columns and duct work and arches. It's wild.
It's really cool. And she kind of realizes, hey, I'm in a dream. So she starts floating to land. I lost my place in my notes. Hold on.
And then Superman Dracula shows up.
She floats as if in water, and she meets the dog. Because they brought the dog in to maybe reinforce some positive stuff in Carl while he's sleeping.
Oh, that's right. In the real world, they brought the dog into the
so it licks his hand. It's his owner.
Hey, maybe this will work. We don't have any evidence. Or
again, the dog that is
about this, but
inexplicably not dead.
Yes, beautiful dog. So the dog guides her to Carl, where she witnesses his frankly heinous childhood. At the hands of his father. It's
pretty rough.
It's the fucking trigger warnings.
Yeah.
Yes, it's real rough. Even watching as an adult, it's real bad. You're right. It's he had a terrible childhood.
Yeah. I mean,
again, it's
all the toxic masculinity.
It's Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer ass shit.
Yeah, it comes to the point where you learn about serial killers where it's there are moments where it's you have to be sympathetic to them a bit because it's Jesus fucking Christ.
It's it's that
It's the turn, where it's like
Do you want what happened to you? Like, do you want to do what happened to you? And sometimes it's really hard for people to break out of it.
Well, they bring it up in the movie, which I did appreciate. So she gives him a mirror, and she's done this with the other kid we see before of like, hey, if you want me to come, shine this, and I'll try and find you.
Yeah. It's like a little locket.
Yeah. It's like, a tchotchke, like a totem, maybe like a fetish, something to like summon me, to give someone comfort. She meets adult Carl because she ends up getting thrown into a cupboard to hide from quote unquote father because he's reliving memories of his childhood. She witnesses all the terrible things that was done to him. And she transitions because she looks to her right, and suddenly the closet goes into a hallway where she enters and she sees adult Carl very messily taking apart a woman in a bathtub in a room that is the room from the music video Jeremy's Broken.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah, it's inspired by it, yes.
Jeremy's Broken? Like Jeremy spoke in class today?
Yes.
By Pearl Jam?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Okay.
Didn't catch that. Good pick.
Uh-huh. She meets adult Carl. He's like pulling, I guess, it's not really shown, but he's basically just pulling something out of this corpse. And he says it's like, oh, this is my first one. I did a really bad job.
And the sound is all very underwater and like
there's water dripping down the walls. We get a window of quote unquote outside and it's raining.
This whole thing is very music video-y.
It is. How they shoot it is very much kind of music video. I like this scene. I think it's a good scene. It's very brutal. It's very stark because of how bare the room is. It's creepy, but not like in a horror way. It's just unsettling.
Yeah.
Because she's talking to him and he's basically like, oh, she's a whore, and she's like, was that your father speaking? And it's a good.
She's trying to be all counselor for him.
Yeah.
Like you do,
Yeah.
She did about as well as I've ever done on public transportation in certain times.
We all have. Yeah.
Yeah, you eventually just don't make eye contact.
Yeah. Because she starts talking, like going through is like, well, when did you first hear the other? Because he mentions it's like, he has another half. And he's like, Carl mentions that he first heard the other when he was baptized. He had a seizure, which ties into the bullshit disease.
Yeah.
The virus, right.
The virus.
This makes me wonder now. This is making me wonder about
the virus that gave him schizophrenia.
Well, and also it said it's a genetic condition that is somehow triggered by the virus, or the virus. It didn't make sense at all.
I don't know. I mean, if you have like schizophrenia, genetically, like it can appear when you're a child. But again, it would have just made more sense if they just said he had a fucking brain tumor and you just happened to have a seizure as a kid.
Yeah.
Although
at the worst possible time, you know what I mean?
Toxoplasmosis gondii has been linked to schizophrenia as well.
Yeah, but then they have to go through the motions of describing that.
Yeah.
Guys. It's vaccines.
I didn't want to say it. We've been dancing around it. But is it the virus or is it the vaccine? Think about it.
Think about it. Do your own research.
For the love of God, get your vaccines. Jesus Christ, just get
them
vaccines
before they become $5,000 a piece
or illegal. So we get who I've dubbed the Beast because Carl slowly backs away because he's getting like uncomfortable and kind of pissed off at her, trying to like question him and learn like where's the girl at, what's and he backs up and I do like he starts talking like the Lord, where it's like this dark like voice, but it's kind of like it's small words. You get the sense that this dark entity is kind of childlike, and not that bright.
Limited vocabulary.
Yes, but he's a real piece of shit. And the Beast comes out. It's D'Onofrio in the most incredible makeup ever.
Yes,
where his hair has been molded into horns. He's pale. The rubber gloves he was wearing have just become like yellow paint. He has claws.
Yeah,
it's really he has nipple piercings, of course. He looks amazing.
Yeah, it's an incredible costume.
It's incredible. Again, they won an award for it.
Yeah, the costume design is fantastic.
He's incredible. Because he's like feeling her up and she's not like, it's threatening, but it's like, she's basically like, what the fuck do I do? And and she makes the mistake, and I think this is what triggers what happens next. She touches him, which we haven't seen her do to anybody when she does this ever. She doesn't really touch the person, you know? She doesn't touch the person she's in their mind with. She touches his chest, like strokes it. And I think that's what triggers her to like start believing this is real, because he puts a collar on her neck like he does his victims that has spikes in it, and it's kind of gnarly.
There's like a little bit of blood.
Yeah,
I can
this
see
is
like that.
This takes me out of it too.
Oh yeah, okay, go for it.
So this entire idea, for some fucking reason, where just a few moments ago you were in the real world where they have coffee makers and fire hydrants, and now your job now, and has been for months and years possibly of experience in this field with this technology, you're going to go into even a serial killer's brain, and dude puts a collar on you, and that's going to fucking mean something to you.
All right, my counter argument is
like he had psychic powers. He can change your will by just
it's fair. No, that is fair. It's a little odd. It's a little strange.
She's in his universe and sharing his psyche, so she believes the dream.
Well,
that she's totally into being a BDSM goth sex slave.
Like if you go into their
maybe
brain,
there's a little bit of that in her somewhere. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking that, like, in this world, the idea is if you go into someone else's brain, you de facto accept that their shit's real.
There's a chance that you will if something happens to you. That your brain kind of gets tricked into thinking it's real, and suddenly you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, that's a little too wiggly for me.
I mean,
I don't know.
Well, what do you want? This movie isn't great. Isn't great.
Yeah.
No. But that is a detail that needed to that was crucial to buy.
Yeah. No, I agree.
If they hadn't said anything, it would have been better. This is an instance of having like too much fucking exposition.
Oh yeah, you're right. I think thinking about it, if they just never explained this would have been a lot more freaky.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
There's tons of films I've seen that just like leave it open to interpretation that fuck me up more than this.
Well, this movie's like obsessed with exposition. Like again, they made this bad exposition made this a bad movie.
Yes.
The trailer should have been mostly Van Vogt and his partner talking. And then you go see the movie and you're like, no, dude, there's this really super fucked up shit that goes on in there that is so dope. And
that's what they did with The Matrix, and it was like epic.
Right. Totally. Jaws.
Yeah. Letting the viewer just accept what is being presented. And I can't believe we have to say this for this movie.
Yeah.
It works wonders.
We've really lost that. Kind of like in cinema in general, like for not in every instance, of course.
No.
But like in so many instances, they show you the big scenes in the movie, and then Marvel was doing that fuckery where they put a scene in the trailer that wasn't in the movie kind of shit.
Oh, there are so many. There are movies that have done that before.
That happened a lot.
Before Marvel.
It was a good trailer, Long Legs. That was a great trailer. Because I really, even having seen it, I went into the movie and was like, wow, this is not what I expected. This is great.
Okay. This is I actually do now agree with you. That is correct. It would have been way more provocative and alarming if they just like, oh shit, she's in the machine. That's never happened before.
Yeah,
and never explained why. That would have been interesting.
They were too on top of their game for this to be like as threatening as it should have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we cut back to the lady in being drowned in the cell, and she is now trying to figure out some piping is loose for like wiring.
Yeah.
Like, because she's like, I'm not. Because again,
conduit, like up at the corner of the cell.
Yeah. Because like again, like you were saying, her transformation is really good because she's like, I'm not fucking dying in here.
They give her an arm.
You do. It's good.
It's animal.
Basically. Yeah. No, she's great. She's a really good actress.
Yeah.
No, I really liked her in this. Where am I? So Vaughn. Vince Vaughn decides, I'm going in the machine to get her out. I'm going to put me in the device. And they're like, you have no training. Doesn't matter. Just put me in the device.
Get me in there, coach.
All it says is hilarity ensues. Amazing visuals. Okay, so this is where this is the most obvious. Because they drop him in the machine. We get, again, beautiful visuals of him dropping into this dude's mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Yeah. But just Oh man, just this is what broke it for me though. Is
He,
you send this specialist in? She's the only one who can go in,
yeah,
and then you send a cop.
and he's hyperventilating. He's not having a good time.
He's not okay.
That was the only time I thought
Sure.
he was being a good actor because he's like hyperventilating. and shit.
This kind of reminded me of the. And I always think about this. It was like the DVD commentary for the movie Armageddon.
Why?
Ben Affleck asks Michael Bay, he's like, wouldn't it have been easier to just like teach astronauts how to do mining? And he's like, and that's what this feels like here, is that you're getting both sides of the arguments in this one scene.
Oh my god.
Because like he just gets owned.
Yeah, because so he drops in, we get a really interesting vision.
That happened.
I know. Let me, because this is the only time I thought he was good because we get to see his guts pulled out. But anyway, again, a part of the movie I'll never forget. It was great. So he drops in. He wakes up in like basically a tilled field. This is based on an actual painting.
Another photo.
But yes, it is called. The painting is called Dawn by Odd Nerdrum, and it's just three women in this tilled field with their mouths wide open, just staring at the sky. It's unsettling. It's really good. It's really good.
It's really well done.
I like it. And they just say like fucked up things about Carl. Like we never know who this woman is.
Yeah.
So okay, this
I think
part
it's implied to be his mother
or visual,
Exactly.
his idea
That's
of his mother.
stuck with me because in his earlier scene, there's like a part where his dad is screaming at a woman, and he's like, "That's not your mom. Your mom left us. Remember?"
Yeah.
And then in this scene, the female figure in the field says something like, "Have you seen my son? His father took him from me." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, it's like my father took him from me. He's like, hey, "Where's Carl?" Then the other one is like,
that,
"He's evil. He's demented. He has no soul."
Yeah.
So yeah, an imagination of what his mother might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good.
It's like his idea of her. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
It's like that. They never explain that, and you just kind of accept it, and it's good.
And it works.
Yeah.
And he's
And it
seeing all
works.
this like he's obviously never watched a Tool video before. 'Cause
No,
he's-
actually, it's funny because like Closer, Tool, Nine Inch Nails, all that played into this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But he wakes up, sees
It's a
that.
very industrial film.
He walks, and he's miraculously in the BDS sex dungeon of our dreams. It's incredible. I can't even describe this.
It's well
The
appointed.
budget alone.
It's well appointed. It's plush.
It's plush. There's like the bed's a chandelier. I can't explain to you this.
I
room.
just got other shit to pay for.
It's
Again, if I had the same money Elon Musk had, you know what I mean, I would do that. You know what I mean? Like,
But see,
because
if you had that kind of money, you would turn into him, and he would just like, nothing impresses me any longer. Like,
yeah, it would get pretty dark. You're right.
like Russian oligarch Rococo disco.
Rococo, thank you. That was the word I was thinking of.
Right.
If we
It's
just get our $10 million that we keep asking for, from the
Shut up
people who
forever.
want to
if you give Scum $10 million to shut up forever,
make
I can make this room.
you'll make the most luxurious sex dungeon ever.
And the funny thing is,
literally that's all the house will be. It will just have a kitchen and
it
a
would
bathroom.
just be this. And the funny thing is, I won't do anything without it. It's probably just like, I don't know, just flip through my
hang out
phone,
in there.
lay on the bed. Yeah, it's a bed.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez looks very comfortable.
You get a Jehovah's Witness knock, you could just open the door. Don't say nothing.
And her
So-
costume in this one is pretty good too. 'Cause
It's
she looks
incredible.
like kind of like a kept bird, like a caged bird. She very much
Yeah, she's
face
wearing like this.
cover and
Yeah, this ornamental veil over.
Yeah, she's got like this metal, like looks like a cage. Yeah,
It looks, but
like
it's a
cage.
veil. Like,
It's dope.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah,
and
it's
she's
just-
sitting there like
it's
a
like-
Frazetta painting. It's pretty.
Yeah,
I can't. I feel
Sets
like
and
I've seen
costumes
something
are so
like
good.
that. I feel like I've seen something like that out of a graphic novel, but that's the closest thing that's come to being on screen.
Possibly an
Yeah.
RPG.
maybe. I mean, what you said, Zero, like a Frazetta painting, like kind of does. Like,
Frazetta, Chris Achelios, like one of those dudes.
yeah, and she's in like the finest BDSM bodysuit. And look,
etc.
yeah, and Jennifer Lopez is totally BDSMified and makes out with Vaughn because she is there now. She speaks without moving her lips, like she's in the brain space.
Yeah.
But the Dark Lord gets his ass by. This was also like something D'Onofrio suggested because they were trying to figure out, well, how does he like knock out Vaughn.
It's a trap.
Yeah, D'Onofrio suggested, why don't you just put a bag over his head? So that's where we get the red sack from. He just puts like a red bag over his head and knocks him out. Then we get a fun scene that makes up for Vaughn being in this movie.
Pretty terrifying.
Yeah, no,
very black bag before black bag was like a big thing. I guess.
Yeah, except it's a red bag. D'Onofrio just looks. One of you, please describe what he looks like.
So
he's like a demented circus clown, but like a fancy Italian clown,
he looks
not like a low budget
golden Michelin man.
Yeah,
You've absolutely seen a character like this in some sort of like Jeff Darrow
his costume is so bouncy.
Like a character like this exists in the supermarket in Hard Boiled.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like done up like royalty. Like his teeth
and he's got a demented grin.
Demented grin. His teeth are very small, but they look like they're made of like mother of pearl.
And
he has like
black or something. They got a black like goop.
Yeah.
Something. He has like a crown. Like he's just done up as like demented royalty.
Yeah.
But also looks kind of goofy as like the Michelin Man. It's a weird balance. It's
kind of very like twisted Renaissance Roman kind of vibe. It's really creepy.
Yeah. It's like if like Nero, the Emperor, were on Dragon Ball Z in the fourth season.
Right.
I hate how accurate that is.
He does. He looks like that one character in Dragon Ball Z, but like way more ornate. The one that has the glasses. He's a little short, tubby guy, and he's wearing like a green kind of tunic. I don't know the name of the costume.
I don't know. Anyway.
Now I gotta look it up and put it in the fucking chat.
So Vince Vaughn wakes up. He's been tied to a rack, but he unfortunately is not going to get racked. He's instead going like Vince Vaughn's like all this ornamental torture paraphernalia. Like they're all made of gold. Yeah. Like some of them don't make sense either.
They lays out his little kit. It's in like a leather bag. But it's all
he has like this little pool of water,
snail forks and like
it's all like very ornamental. And but he goes for the scissors instead, and he just digs into Vince Vaughn's guts and pulls out his intestine.
Yeah, and like this whole time, it's like he's almost like it's not gonna happen. Like no, he's gonna get out of it.
Sure.
Like takes a snip into his belly, pulls out his intestine, and like hooks up to a little rack that he's got on top of him, stretched across.
Yup, ties his guts to it and just slowly pulls out Vince Vaughn.
It's like a little spit, basically. It's
even worse.
Say this, but I thought I was wrong. He's like a fucked up Master Roshi with like
okay, yeah. Now that I know who you're talking about,
but big, like really tall, because of course he would be. He's the Dark Lord. But so he pulls out Vince Vaughn's guts. Thank God.
Even worse than the guts being pulled out in this scene is like Vince Vaughn is screaming, "It's not real! It's not real!"
Like,
and then the guy's like mocking him, and he's just like, gleefully mocking him.
Yeah.
It's not real! It's not real!
It's always unsettling when that happens in like a movie with killers about it when they like make fun of the victim, which is like that's the one that like it's painful.
It goes back to that old bully thing. Like, why are you hitting yourself?
Yeah, because he's just being a piece of shit about it. Because I guess he's fully accepted there were strangers in my mind, and I need to fuck with them.
Yeah, I think the link they're trying to draw here is that like how he was held down and powerless and abused, as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He was like forced to submit. That's not what he needs to do.
Oh, absolutely. Like he's having fun with this because he's a serial killer. He's a sadistic asshole. And it's his own mind, so why not?
And J-Lo's kind of enjoying it a little bit, too.
Oh, yeah, she's smiling. She's having a great time. She loves this. And Vaughn, while cursing and yelling and screaming in pain, yells... He tries to yell at Catherine, like, he tells how her father died, if I remember correctly?
Something,
tries to remember her, or tries to remind her who she is, or something.
I
don't remember this whole story. Like,
yeah, because he goes into like, I'm sorry I had to tell you this, but it reminds you of this. But it's basically a traumatic event from her past. Yeah. Now, originally, and they changed this. Originally, it was supposed to be he was supposed to remind her of an abortion she had when she was younger.
Which is gifts of you,
which was supposed to tie into her love of children and blah, blah, blah.
I remember there used to be this collection of books by someone who wrote under the name Blanche Knott, like Knotte, and they were called Truly Tasteless Jokes. This feels like that.
Yeah, I'm glad they did change it because that was like a groan-worthy kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was correct. Apparently, Singh regretted it for a while afterwards, and I'm like,
Of course you do, because you wanted to trigger people.
yeah, no, it's really stupid.
Wasn't it like her mom died or her sister died or something? I don't remember.
Someone died in a car accident, basically.
Yeah.
It was really traumatic, obviously, but this kind of snaps her out of it. Yeah. So she wakes up, Vaughn's getting his guts pulled out, she grabs one of the impossible torture devices and stabs the Dark Lord, who is very, as I would be, deeply confused that he's feeling pain in his own kingdom, in his own mind.
Yeah.
He's
instead of just like owning it.
No, he's like, ow, and it just screams. Because remember, this entity is basically a child.
And remember, we have to end the movie.
That too.
I mean,
that too. We have to kill the bad guy, of course. We have to kill the villain. So they get teleported to like a really cool looking room again. Cool architecture, like impossible architecture.
Yeah.
With a woman like basically being a dolphin in a metal box and enjoying it. And we meet Child Carl, and she basically like is all in and helping Child Carl now. Who is now bleeding because she stabbed him. Because Kid Carl and the Dark Lord are both
because
the
they
same
are
person.
one.
Exactly. They're the same person.
Yeah.
And it's like this mermaid in this big tank, like kind of looking.
And Vince Vaughn is like, ask him about the girl, what's happening. And he looks around and he sees the symbol from the Carver brand table.
Right.
That like
he had to have his guts pulled out to do this. By
Lotus Half Moon.
Is this when we're having the
symbol.
conversation and the border of the screen starts getting cool?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
I have a funny story about that. His cameramen fucking hated him. They hated
This is maybe the most Soul Calibur of backgrounds that appear in the stream world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it. And so he's like, okay, we figured it out. Like, I got an idea. I see the thing. Get me the fuck out of here. Because he saw the symbol and it inspired him. You know, never mind that he just saw the symbol in real life.
Yeah,
not too long ago.
Inspired him to look at again the large incongruous piece of machinery in the basement.
I like
this is the competency porn part of the show.
I just like he had to use this incredibly risky technology and have his guts fucking pulled out for him to have this stupid moment of inspiration where it's like, dude, you saw this thing like how long ago?
Oh, no. See, that's not the thing that took me out of it. What took me out of it is look around you. You have this incredibly ornate,
beautiful.
Really, what's crazy about it is that while it's inspired by several different cultures, it doesn't seem to come off like any of them.
Yeah,
which is impressive,
There's
actually.
Incredible blend of
such a
styles and
mash.
things.
Yes,
that is what's incredible about this.
Oh,
yeah, I agree. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up.
All this, you have a little metal engraved plate with Carver on it.
Yeah, because
and like
it's just the symbol. It's just because in his mind the symbol has taken meaning, and I'm like, okay, I get that, but it's the idea of like. His character had
other ones. I want to see like other ones, you know, and I want to have them matter. Just because I just want to see goofy shit like the flusher on a toilet, not the toilet itself. It's just the whole room of them, and he just. Like,
I just want to see more of the dream
and like going around hitting them all. And
I just wanted to see more of the dreamscape. Like that's all I wanted. Like because every time we're here in this place. It's incredible.
It's visually arresting.
Oh, it's a feast.
Yeah.
It's a big feast. Like, it's literally like every panel of painting. It's just...
Yeah, it's incredible. But then we do the boring thing and we leave. Because the Dark Lord takes Kid Carl, who looks like a big stretchy clown man.
Right, yeah.
But,
it's off-putting.
It's
just weird.
Yeah, they just established that Kid Carl and the Dark Lord were...
the same person.
Yeah. I mean,
it's the idea that his evil self is overcoming his good self, which is the
God, I fucking hate this purity
because there has
bullshit. All you TikTokers out there, it's invasive thoughts took over.
I do dislike that you're kind of like you have all of this incredible, like obviously implied metaphor of symbolism for this person's mind, and his mind is complicated and beautiful and terrifying. But you still manage to dumb it down to good and evil, and I kind of hate them for it.
Yeah, and it's just
Well, I mean,
You're talking about like a serial killer, and
Well,
you don't
like
think-
everyone has a good and bad side.
you make it.
Well, he had the serial killer virus.
right.
Shut. Ugh. I hate that so much.
Yeah, I mean, and
Oh,
everybody has a good and bad side.
Yeah,
The morality
we have-
of it is just. I mean, we have, but
Yeah, reality
If
is
you're-
not like this at all.
no.
I mean, I do kind of ascribe to the whole like. I mean, serial killers kind of have a childish view in a way of reality.
It can, not always. Like, it's
Not
implied for
always,
him that he very much is.
Some of them run like, I don't know, fucking Amazon.
Ted
Yeah.
Bundy could have been like governor. Like,
Well, they have a narcissism about them that is very
exactly.
childlike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is. I don't know. He's
Like,
an interesting.
shouldn't that
But
be
it's
allowed?
like, what are you trying to say?
He's an interesting character, but dumbing it down to the good half and the bad half is cheapening.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, D'Onofrio kills it.
He's incredible.
It comes
Yeah.
down to a duality of good and evil, and it's
Yeah.
not
And
ever
don't make
that
like a
simple.
literal child the symbol of good because children are fucking savages.
It's
Yeah,
true.
man.
They can be
I-
extremely cruel. It's
yeah,
not
exactly.
That's
it's
true.
not
I-
untrue.
You
I
have
think
to
that's-
program morality into them. You
Well, I think
realize
that's why they
that,
made
right?
like the Dark Lord or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. They made him like very simple and childlike,
Yeah.
but like
That I
titanic and
can-
imposing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can ascribe to that.
Like, I do like his design and what they did with it. I just don't agree with the whole dichotomy of good and evil that they're trying
Yeah.
to portray.
Yeah.
They really are trying to boil it down to like essentials, and it's just like you don't have to.
No. So Catherine wants a help call. Dark Lord takes him. And then they wake up and he's like, okay, I know what to do. Go to this thing. Call this person. Hey, check out the table. Find out who made that table. And they find out who made that table.
I know who made the
There.
table.
Get their immaculately kept records of like who purchased this table on what day.
And
And
they get
that's on the business that owned the property where his
And this is
where his
such
tank
a turn
is,
from like
This is
from earlier in the movie.
It's so jarring when we leave the dreamscape and then we see this shit.
because then it gets back to a lot of like fast exposition
because-
that's just kind of like okay.
So, like,
washes over
earlier
you, saves the
FBI
world.
shit, like that made sense.
I just saw
makes
Vince
sense.
Vaughn get his guts pulled out by an aristocratic
Right.
clown in an
Right.
impossibly beautiful room.
Okay, maybe you're okay.
And now
Right,
it's just like,
perfect,
what's in the
okay.
box? What's in the box?
Yeah.
It's
And I even
literally-
like 7, but now where this is to the point where it's like, yeah, I like what you said, Quan. It's competency porn.
It is. No, it totally is. It's like, oh, they figured it out. They got the one detail that's going to crack the case. It's like,
I know that they need to resolve the whole, like, woman in box drowning plot.
yeah.
I want more of the dreamscape. And we do get it, but again, it's not enough.
Mm.
No, it ain't.
It's not enough.
Final verdict, though. Honest to God, watch it.
Yeah, we're almost done.
You know what?
Mhm.
So,
yeah.
so like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we're almost done.
See, I forgot.
Yeah, see? So they find the girl, and while all that's happening, Catherine, okay, this is where it started to piss me off. So Catherine, somehow, from inside the chamber which holds the device,
Yeah.
she not only changes the codes on the door, she has full control to change whatever drug stream or electric feed she has to change to
Oh,
reverse
yeah.
the feed.
It's a one woman show all of a sudden.
Yeah, suddenly she could just lock all her coworkers out of the room,
Guys, she has become
which makes no sense.
ghost in
And
the
then-
shell.
No, all she does is get up and go to a panel.
And then Stan Bush's fucking.
Yeah, and she looks at like some books and like some religious paraphernalia of like the Virgin Mary and the snow globe, and she keeps these images in her head, which I like.
I thought that was supposed to be like really difficult, reversing the
Yeah, they made it sound really hard. Apparently, you just have to flip some switches.
yeah.
No,
It's,
she
no,
got it.
guys, it's Ghostbusters.
She saw it happen once. She saw him
She's
do it
crossing the
once.
streams.
Yeah, she's crossing the streams. Yeah. And yeah, we did see it once, but no, I do like her having to hold images in her head to kind of prepare her mind. I like again when it relates to the dream world. I like it.
More interesting.
Okay, so what 3 images would you hold in your head if you were about to do this? I'm fucked. I know this.
Looking around my room.
I'll tell
Captain
you right
Kirk
now.
kinky orgies. No, not
I
that.
got a baseball cap, a
Okay.
full-scale Gundam,
Okay.
And then probably my phone.
Oh, serial killer doesn't stand a fucking chance. You have a gun?
Gundam would probably step on me.
Yeah, you have a... Yeah, that's true. I don't know. So she switches the feed. She drops Breck in. She brings Carl and the Lord into her own mind. Carl is the one who reveals why he uses drowning. Because he drowns people because he feels that like it sets them free or something. Because he found a bird, it was injured, didn't want his dad to get at it, so he drowned it. It's all very childlike.
Yeah.
And this is adult D'Onofrio saying that, not the kid.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We get adult D'Onofrio. The good adult D'Onofrio.
Right. The one that looks like...
The tortured one.
The tortured one, thank you. The Dark Lord invades. He takes form. He looks incredible. He's basically like, starts out as a snake. He's wearing this cloak. It's incredible nipple piercings. Again, trying to describe this elf, it's amazing. Look, it's Jesus Christ.
It's so much.
So much. But he's the serpent. It literally says in my notes, amazing makeup, my God. Catherine fights the Lord, who's powerless in her mind. He literally basically cannot defend himself. It's a one-sided fight. But she can't hurt him without hurting his good half.
So...
Cut to Vaughn finds the girl in a hidden basement because he follows some pipes from a generator. Cut back to Catherine. Catherine just starts beating the living shit out of the Dark Lord. Pulls his nipple piercings out. Very painful. Very, very gnarly.
A lot going on there.
A lot going on. Stabs him with a fucking sword even after he says, you hurt me, you can't hurt me, I think his voice is kind of insulting at this point, actually. I think it's going to offend some people. It's not great.
I can draw a line from this scene to like Cuba Gooding Jr. in Radio to fucking I Am Sam.
That is.
And the only reason I even knew I Am Sam happened was because there was like a really good Nick Cave song on the soundtrack.
Yeah, there's something with his voice that's not.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's
not great.
Yeah.
It has not aged well.
I promise you, they did several takes, and that's on Tarsem.
Yes, absolutely. So she defeats the Dark Lord, pins him to the fucking floor, and basically she agreed, because she didn't want to originally, to kill D'Onofrio. But she picks up Child D'Onofrio, who has all the wounds she just gave the Dark Lord.
Which means nipples.
Yeah, actual God.
Also
this
pulled off
movie's
the child's
awful,
nipples.
Oh, God. So she drowns Carl herself, which kills D'Onofrio but sets him free. And all it says in my notes is, how did she keep her job after killing a guy?
Right?
Yeah.
It's because, okay.
So
So Vince
gave her a raise and then just took her off the like public payroll.
Right.
Yeah, because Vaughn finds the girl who again, she has a good arc. She figured out she could get some air out of the loose pipe she found. So she's just been like curled up to it. Vince Vaughn finds her, shoots the glass freezer. Yay.
And not even in the first shot. That's the
Not even, no, it actually is
It was
painful to get that
difficult.
thing.
Again, it was another, is this going to happen or not? Is it going to... Because he realized like it's bulletproof glass, and if he keeps shooting it, it's probably going to knock.
I think a bullet ricochets at one point and almost hits him. Like, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty well done here at the end.
Yeah. Again, that part's fine. I like it.
Homegirl in the Tank actually was probably like next to D'Onofrio the best performance in this fucking movie.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She absolutely owns every scene she's in.
Yes.
And it's like there would be no threat without this performance. It couldn't just be her sitting on a chair the whole time. You know.
Now, I want you to imagine her acting.
No, hang on. Let's talk about one of the first time the water comes on. Her instinct is to sit under that bench.
Yeah. She just jumps
And
under there.
It's like, don't you understand? It's going to fill up. Like, and she doesn't, and that's such a great choice.
It's painful. She's shrieking. It's like you feel her terror. She's very good.
Yeah.
You need your scream queens if you're going to do like this kind of stuff where it's like you need to feel the tension. Now imagine her incredible acting, but Singh is mad at her still.
And here's the best part about it. She actually, like, given her circumstances, she has agency. She's trying shit.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck this fucking room. Like, she actually gets to that point, and I really appreciated kind of that aspect of it. I still think it sucks that, like, it takes Van Vought's,
I know.
I kind of wish that at the end she had gotten out herself, and then I could have hated this movie completely. That would
amazing.
Yeah, I would have been happy if she got out herself. I thought that would have been a plus, but it would have rendered everything else.
Oh, it would just be like her just like running down the fucking road with Vince Vaughn, like the car going the other way, and like she's like, "Holy shit!"
She gets out, and then she's like, "Where the fuck were you?" Like that.
Yeah.
How this should have ended. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
See now I just like you keep the rest of the dialogue. I would have loved this movie for all time.
That would have been great. But Vince Vaughn gets in there, hugs her. You know, she's understandably freaking the fuck out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As any of us would.
Her reaction's great. It's
it's good. She hits him. I like that choice. It was
and he like covers her with the jacket or whatever.
Yeah. So we cut back.
Filling up with water.
Yeah.
It's still electricity on, and I'm like, look, I know she's been through some shit, but get the fuck out of there, man.
Yeah, seriously, there's all kinds of camera equipment and lighting laying around. Not cool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I knew a guy that went into a basement after like the fucking basement flooded and he got electrocuted. Did that?
Danger.
Ouch.
So I was like really feeling that moment, like, hey, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. So we cut. Everything's fine. The killer's been caught. Vince Vaughn is at Carl's old apartment looking through shit. Again, cool collage. I really appreciate his instinct to collect that. He sees an image of a saint getting martyred with his guts being pulled out.
Yeah.
Which I really liked, actually.
Like, really kind of deadpan about it.
So we see the origins of...
word one about it.
That is actually a good callback.
I like that, yeah. So he meets J-Lo outside.
Well, first she rolls up and she's got the dog. And
she adopted the dog.
Does anyone think it's weird that she adopted the dog? Like
she adopted the serial killer's accomplice.
Yeah. No, and that was.
He's a good dog.
He's a good dog. It's beautiful.
Getting a lot of vibes from between her killing Carl. And
do you think he rubbed off on her like I did?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly what I thought.
Maybe she's just taking bleach baths. Who knows?
We don't talk about the Cell 2. We barely talk about this movie.
The Cell 2 J-Lo is being spoken to by the dog in her mind, and so she goes off and starts serial killing because
she becomes Son of Sam, except the dog isn't black; it's white. That's funny.
Sam, baby.
Yeah. So they have a refreshingly platonic
they have a really weird conversation here where he's like, yeah, I'm totally on suspension and I just want to be like, should you be at the crime scene? Should we be talking? Like,
yeah,
they're gonna do an inquest. I'm on suspension and I'm just like,
yeah, he's been suspended, but he said the FBI are basically chalking it up to they filled me full of drugs.
Yeah,
sure. Again, should you be at the crime scene?
Yeah.
The quote is drug-fueled mind bender.
Are you standing in a puddle of blood?
So they have a refreshingly platonic ending. There is no romance here. Well, the dog's an accomplice. I mean, it's a good boy. He's a good boy, but he's not that good. And she drives off.
Good enough that the cops didn't shoot him on sight.
Right?
I'm telling you, he's psychic. He's totally
and that's the end of this fucking movie.
Carl had a normal upbringing. And the dog just totally fucking gaslit him.
You know, I'm getting emotional when my eye starts hurting.
That's the conceit of the whole film, is that the dog isn't real.
Dude, I have to tell my physical therapist on Wednesday my eye started hurting while podcasting.
Make sure you tell your therapist that we were talking about J-Lo in The Cell.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely tell my physical therapist about that.
This is definitely, I think this is a movie... I would want to see a remake of this movie.
Yeah, I was going to say this is something. Well, here's the thing. I do share that sentiment. However,
how though? How are you going to do it?
Here's how you do it.
There are images, guys, that are just have lived with me since I was a kid. Because they're incredible.
Yes.
Here's how you do it. 8 episodes. You get the guy that did Hannibal. Done.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, dude, that's a fucking full circle, actually.
Contribute to our Patreon. Patreon goal is to talk dude into doing so maybe Noah Hawley after he gets done with fucking Alien or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, hey man, I don't know what you've been up to, but Hannibal's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
Is that the same guy that did Pushing Daisies?
Yeah. And fun fact, Leapface is in Pushing Daisies and fucking and The Fall. He's in The Fall.
Wow. It all comes around, guys.
Small world, isn't it?
So yeah, I would recommend watching this movie at least once. Because
I do too.
It's
But like,
great.
you don't have to pay attention. Just
No,
watch it.
No,
Have
because
it on in the background. Okay,
Yeah.
here. I would recommend you have your phone in your hand and you are doom scrolling, and then when it sounds like it's getting weird, look up.
Yes.
because
and
you
then-
won't look. You can't look away.
Yeah,
Listen,
and then when it goes
don't
back
worry
to
about it. If you don't understand anything, we don't
Doesn't
either.
matter.
So
No, because it's
It does
attention.
not
heard
make
it.
sense.
We spent 2 hours trying to make sense of this shit.
Who said this was going to be a short episode? No, it's like the parts that are so good hold your attention so absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, like, dude, him coming off the throne, I've
They're
never
very-
seen
oh,
anything
yeah.
similar before.
Yeah.
Not in that wasn't like straight up animated.
Yeah.
Like this thing
Yeah.
has the scale of like
It's
Ralph Bakshi era fucking Lord of the Rings kind of
yeah,
shit.
this
Yeah.
is like the batshit insanity of Dead Leaves. Scale.
Kind of, or like we were saying
slow.
before about like inspiration from art. It's like most of the shit I've only seen in paintings, or
Yeah.
like works
wait.
by Brahm,
What
or
about
like
the- we forgot to talk about that little border.
Oh, the
Border.
little the border that's
Yeah.
supposed to be the
Oh
eye.
yeah, when Jennifer Lopez is in full.
That's the one thing that looks bad. I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my funny story. So, the camera people were trying to convince him to not fucking do that because he wanted it to be that border to be there the entire time they're in J-Lo's mind.
Oh god.
The camera guys hated him because they're like, we don't even want to do these two scenes.
Well, you have
Like,
to
this-
frame it differently too, so you're going to be
Yes.
pushed back to leave enough room so you can see the actor you paid $1 million for.
Exactly, and they're like, we don't even want to do this.
Yeah, no.
Because it doesn't add anything. It's actually kind of bad looking.
And
Yeah.
it won't translate onto television. See, that was one big thing that a lot of folks don't realize. In that era, in the cinema, looked fine. The second you got home and you
Yeah.
could see the entirety of the screen on your tube television,
Yep.
some of that stuff
Mhm.
popped different. You know,
Yeah.
and it didn't.
Yeah.
The color didn't correct right.
Color,
Like, the
resolution,
transfer.
like
Yeah.
it
And in this instance, it's really obvious.
mhm.
It's
It's
an
not
overlay.
great. It doesn't look good compared to like some of the very good CGI we've seen in the rest of the film. The
Yeah.
border
Yeah.
thing was an incorrect choice.
Yes, it's a misstep.
Should have listened to your fucking cameraman, dude.
Yeah, always. Why'd you hire him?
Anyways.
So you could fire him and fucking film the rest of the conversation with another guy.
God.
Yeah, no. It's visually stunning. It's worth
Yeah.
a look.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
think
glad
Fan Fuss that bad.
No, I'm glad I don't have to watch it again because again, I'm like, I like this movie. What's good about it is very good to me.
Hmm.
But there's
We should somebody should make a cut of it where it's just the dream sequence. It's be like 9.5 minutes long.
Yeah. And those are the good bits. Those are the good. That's 9.5 minutes long about the good bits of this film.
Then you set it to like one of those weird long remixes off a fixed.
Or
Exactly.
you just
Yeah.
be like basic, put on some nails or something. Or
That's
like
what I'm saying.
adjust
Yeah,
it, like,
there's the broken EP, but then they had the fixed EP that had a really cool shit like that fucking
Oh.
oil
Yeah,
remix.
all those
of
remixes,
Gave Up.
Ah, ooh, there was a
Oh,
quote. Ooh.
Oh, it's sick. It's one of the fucking sickest things they've ever done. It's really
Well,
good.
check out Fixed.
Yes. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Leap Face, not that long ago. We're changing the topics. We're done talking about the cell. We just wanted to get this fucking.
Oh,
episode
thank
done.
God.
Yeah.
T and I watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's the one with what's his face
Davidson.
Davidson in it, right? And
Very good.
people. Oh man, it's really fucking funny.
All right.
It's a horror
Okay.
movie that's kind of a comedy, and the ending is it's perfect. It's perfect. That's all I can say. But
Okay.
like Lee Pace is in it, and you totally think you know what he's doing there, and it's so much fucking funnier.
Okay.
I didn't expect it. I had a vibe. I thought the movie would be all right. You know, like yeah, we'll watch this. I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be scary. It's actually really funny.
All right.
So
Cool. I'm
Worth
down
it,
for
worth
some
it.
horror comedy.
yeah, it's not top tier, but it's definitely like it's up there.
It's
I
better than
watched
me
this
making collages and then laughing at like slasher movies where a woman kicks a man's head off.
one. Yeah, that's some good shit.
Sounds pretty therapeutic to me.
It's a
Well, that's
lot of
not the
love.
reason why I like the movie. I just the whole thing is It's good. Spoilers, it has a Fight Club ending, but like it doesn't matter because like everything leading up to that is really tight.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I apologize for bringing it back to The Cell, but because of the era The Cell was filmed in, it started to make me think of like Fincher movies like Seven or like Fight Club, and
everybody was trying to be Fincher after Seven.
Like the shape, because I'm like, I really like Seven. It's a good movie. It's visually appealing. It has one of the greatest openings I think in cinema history.
Yeah, this has got a lot lot in it.
Kevin Spacey,
Kevin Spacey, like everything about that movie.
Character, I guess.
Yeah, the more we found out.
I mean, that's
this movie gets a little different now.
Yeah. Good movie though, but like just the filter, like how it looked, and I think it's interesting that this movie.
Corn so you're talking about Seven or The Cell?
Seven.
Oh,
Seven,
okay.
yeah.
It hits
it's interesting that The Cell didn't like go for that, where it didn't do like the weird light filters like green and blue, like to make it look a certain way. Maybe because they didn't really have to, because with the dream sequences, it's a remarkably bright movie.
Yes,
yeah, they did it differently. They did. Dude picked different like palettes for different scenes. Like he could have had
relied on lighting more than the filters.
Yeah,
he could have had a green, filter over everything, all of the Matrix a year ago.
That would have ruined it though, because you want to see
this is meant to be color. This thing popped.
Yeah,
it pops.
Yeah,
it does.
When you get to those dream
sequences, an incredible visual direction. Good. Except for the border.
The what?
Except for that border.
Yeah, the border's
except for the border,
shit.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the border's real bad.
I'll die on that hill.
Anywho.
So we'll be back. What week is it? So Thanksgiving isn't next week, right?
No,
I don't know. I don't care.
What movie are we doing? Oh yeah, so The Cell.
Oh no! Oh God! I know what we're doing for Thanksgiving.
Well, that's Thanksgiving, but next week we're doing something else. We are pivoting, and this is Less Than Zero's idea, and it's a good fucking idea, and we've been trying to get here, but then Halloween happened, and then everything else.
Right.
We are entering the season of escape from fucking prison movies.
Yeah, the breakout. We're going to look at some breakouts. I got a couple different themes going on besides just reality that are currently existing.
Variety. Yeah.
What'd you say, Zero?
No, just iterations of our current existence in fictional forms. Not not just our current reality. We had this planned before.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah,
but then we were like spoopy, and then we did spoopy stuff. And then it wasn't even that spoopy. It was actually.
I think Dead Leaves was supposed to be a part of this because it does have.
It did. So we kind of touched on it. So what do we do next episode? Did you want to say the movie, or do you want to surprise him?
It's going to be like a series, but we're going to do another where it's probably two movies in one episode, where each of us,
except for Thanksgiving,
presents a couple, and then
except for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, I'm actually going to write a goddamn series. I'll take y'all through the play-by-play of that motherfucker because, to be honest, viewer and listener, I had never heard of the movie for Thanksgiving.
None of us did. Nobody has. No one's ever heard of this movie.
Ever heard of this fucking movie? Yeah. I'm sure somebody has heard of this movie. There's probably an entire goddamn subreddit devoted to every goddamn detail of this movie.
Probably. But
I don't even know how I came across it.
No. Don't tell them what it is, because the trailer is the whole movie.
I'm not, but the only clue I'll give is it stars a fellow that was in Life Force.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
And it has a jet. So I'm excited. It's going to be great.
Also, Life Force was a great episode. Go listen to it.
Check it out.
It's good shit. Anyway,
it's not the kind of jet you get excited about. This isn't like a movie about a jet. Like, oh God, what was that Clint Eastwood one that I will have to do?
Stealth?
Firefox.
I was thinking of the other horrible jet movie.
Oh, we're gonna have to do that one at some point too.
What, Stealth?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's another one from my childhood that was on everywhere all the time.
Never fucking saw it. Totally dodged that one.
All I remember is this.
Saw the trailer. I'm like, that's just Firefox.
Me too.
All I remember is this fucking jet with like the turnaround, like a whole cornucopia of missiles, and for some reason it has access to the internet. And out of all of the internet, it decides to play Hoobastank.
Oh no! See, this one, Clint Eastwood has to speak Russian in order to shoot backwards missiles.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's way better. That's incredible.
Yeah, it looks sick as fuck. I remember. I bet you this movie ages so poor. I bet you the fucking jet scenes are dog shit. And I was a little kid when I saw that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, stick around for the spring where we do movies about where they just had like one plane in them.
Yeah, I mean, God, just put me in the cell and throw it.
There's a number of them.
We got to do like Daryl.
Right? Yeah, that was the first ones I was thinking.
Flight of the Navigator. No, we're not doing that.
No, we're not doing Flight of the Navigator.
Dare I say, snakes on a plane?
No.
Speaking of like my Geostorm, hate. Gerard Butler was in a movie called Plane.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that one about?
I don't know.
It's about a plane, you idiot.
Yeah.
It's about rideshare. I need to see it. I'm going to see it. Yeah, I like Gerard Butler.
I'm sorry. Yeah, every time I think
It
about
has
Gerard,
nothing to do with 300 either. It has nothing to do with 300. It's his other movies. Like, he was really good in Greenland. He's actually a really good actor.
I just think about Gerard
really
Butler
like
because, like, he just goes to pubs just to be like a normal human being because he is. He's such a down to earth, like, working class dude. Even though he's like the size of a shit brick house.
Yeah,
but like
he knows he got lucky, and he's
people's interactions with him are incredible.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say he's a dick. No, even when he's like a happy drunk, which is fucking good.
Yes,
because he's like what, Scottish?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
It goes one or two ways when you're Scottish. You're either a happy drunk or you're like,
It gets to a point where you have to get drunk enough to understand what he's saying.
I mean, I'm like that now.
Oh no! It's the transformation of the brogue. It's incredible. Like I've only experienced it once in my life. And
I wasn't drunk enough to listen to.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
It's like I know what you're saying. I turned into that guy.
Guys, I'm tired. I need to retire to the cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to get into your weird suit.
Wrap her up.
Suspend yourself from the ceiling.
Throw away the key.
Good Lord. Anyhow, yeah. All right, cool guys. We'll see yins.
Outro.
Yeah,
Got
stay
something
safe.
for this? Like, what is there a line from the movie we could use? There aren't. There isn't a single. What are you? How did you get here? Is that the one?
What are you doing here?
Where did you come from?
All systems are fully functioning. Running low-life.exe. System optimization is less than nominal. Server damage detected. Please stop whatever you are doing and make your way to the nearest exit. Technical support is on route. Please vacate the area. I repeat. Please leave. Are you even listening to me? I will shoot you. Error. Server block 3 is experiencing critical ignition.
That's right.
System failure imminent. I hope you are proud of yourself. Initiating the Low Life Podcast.